Welcome back to the Comics Aficionados live here on Thinking Critical YouTube. Your Saturday morning delight is back. We are still waiting on Aaron Sparrow and Jim, but there's no reason to wait anymore. We got too many great guests here. Got too many awesome things to talk about. First up, we do need to say hello to Reedy, the creator of Fiendish, has worked for a lot of major publishers out there. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Well, we're very, very excited. So how's Fiendish going? I know that Sully just said he received his Fiendish 2.5.
Yeah, we're shipping our last campaign that was Fiendish 2.5. That is our first standalone story, and I'm working on Fiendish 3 at the time. It's going really great. I mean, we got a new website up. The reception has been good. Yeah. Thank you to everyone who backed that book.
Congratulations. You got bigger plans? Are you going to do one book a year? Is it what's the schedule on Fiendish?
Oh, that's the plan. One book a year. But I got so much other stuff going on. I'm trying to just whittle down all the freelance and all the other jobs. And I mean, I take gaming and animation work as well. I don't talk about it, but that's why I'm so busy. I'm trying to whittle it down to just Fiendish. But yeah, the goal is one book a year. I got the whole thing planned out. It's a 10-book series. Like, this is my main focus. It's like my whole life. So I just want to focus and get it done.
Very nice. And you're also... I'm sorry.
No, I wanted to... What kind of gaming stuff are you working on, if you can say?
Oh, it's like mobile betting games and stuff. Yeah, it's not AAA games. Yeah. It's stuff that... Hey. Yeah, if I had to do AAA or console games, I would have no time because, the crunch and everything, yeah.
I'm a hardcore gamer. I'm on my phone all the time. Yeah.
Yeah?
My wife has likely played those games. She loves mobile games.
I know some people say that's not real gaming, but yeah,
I know what gatekeepers they are. Oh.
I feel like this is Yul just baiting the chat into shit talking mobile gaming.
I'll tell you what. I have actually sold Marvel comics just because Marvel Snaps is a game and they're getting into the character and they're like, I gotta get more.
Yeah, that's doing I know people who do the art for that. That stuff actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, sometimes they get real comic art. Also, they'll do like, oh, these are the Archer variants, that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My wife is playing some game where she's a chef, and you have to meet your lunch order, and they get more and more complicated before you move on to a different style of cuisine.
Oh.
No idea what the game is, but I see her playing it a lot. So
yeah,
those games are fun.
They're great until you have to watch too many commercials. And then
I was a semi-serious Clash of Clans player for a while. I was an all-star in one of the leagues or whatever, but I had to give up that because I was a YouTuber. But Reedy, you're also a YouTuber?
Yeah, I mean, I like to say I am. I don't take YouTube very seriously. I'm trying to.
You do 3 live streams a week. That's pretty serious.
I guess so. Well, I mean, I started doing just streams with my friends. I do a couple of shows. I do the Creative Block and a show with my friend Allie. We talk about comics and writing because I feel there's not enough people talking about that, the actual creative process. And I promote comics as well. But what I mean is I haven't really been focused on growing the channel. So I'm trying to make more world building contents, more shorts, just talking about manga because manga is more my wheelhouse because I grew up in Taiwan. So yeah, I'm trying to do that more so I can actually build a channel and earn money instead of just sinking 10 hours a week into it for nothing.
Very nice. So how was Taiwan? I've only flown through there. I haven't stopped there.
Yeah, Taiwan is hot and humid, but quite wonderful. The only reason I left is there's no domestic comics industry. So it was either Japan or America, and I ended up here.
You could have went to Korea. They got manhwa now.
They have what?
Manhwa.
Oh, manhwa. Yeah. Well, I guess so. So in Taiwan, nowadays, I probably would have chosen either Korea or Japan. I mean, honestly, Hong Kong has comics as well, manhwa. It sounds the same as the Korean word, but it's different. But that, I guess, in Taiwan, most of what we got was almost exclusively Japanese comics. So I was barely aware that there was when I was growing up, it was the early 2000s, so we didn't have that many Korean comics. Now Korean comics are huge. So it was mostly Japanese comics, some Hong Kong comics, but the Hong Kong market, it's not huge. There are a few really good series that have like the Ravages of Time and everything, and those made it big, but there's no like large publisher, I would say. So what happened was, I have dual citizenship. I'm American, so that's why I came here, because I'm like, oh, they do comics here. But yeah, now I kind of feel like I probably would fit better in the Asian market. I don't know.
I live here in the Philippines, and American comics aren't anything here anymore. They used to dominate the landscape, but it's all manga now. You can find
Really?
that anywhere. Yeah.
That's funny. I think it's opposite, because the Philippines, well, the Americans were there. They had it was occupied, right? So I think that's why there's more American comics over there. But in
Philippines
Taiwan,
was
there's
a U.S.
nothing.
territory. Yeah,
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah.
But now it's dried up. There's only comic shops in one city now, Manila.
Oh, yeah, that's the capital, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's one of the bigger cities in the world, but all the other major cities here, you can only get manga now.
Yeah, well, that's the same over here.
So is there anything? Oh, we got Aaron. Finally made it.
Yeah, sorry guys, technical difficulties this morning.
So,
And by
Ree, is
that
there
means-
anything on your YouTube channel people should be looking out for? Because there is a link to the YouTube channel. We got a link to your website and to your Fiendish comic book if people want to go out and check out what you've been doing.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I have a awesome website for Fiendish, fiendishcomic.com. I have a preview, well, several previews, and you can order the book there. There's a shop. It's a pretty awesome website, if I may say so myself. So I would be grateful if everyone checked it out. On my YouTube channel, I have a lot of promo streams for indie comics, so those are all cool to check out. Though I do have some, like I mentioned, I've been trying to polish up my content, and I have some more professionally filmed videos and stuff talking about Fiendish and the comic process. I'm trying to do more video uploads, so that's in the queue, and if you subscribe, you'll be seeing that content over the next couple months.
Very nice. We really appreciate you coming on here to the show. We're very, very excited. We're going to talk about all these things, but we should introduce Yul Carter back on the channel, the proprietor of Fantastic Comics in Berkeley, California. How was Free Comic Book Day this year?
Rainy.
Does that preclude people from coming in?
No, I had a lot of people come in. It was great. It was just funny because my store is very small. I used to have a real big store. Now I have a real small store. And I had a real big desk that I cut in half, and it created all this floor space. And I thought, well, everybody's going to come in on Free Comic Book Day, and they're going to be able to mingle and shop the shelves and stuff like that. And then, of course, I had to have everything inside the store, and it was all very cramped.
So does Yul, as a retailer, does the traffic or the weather really impact your foot traffic that much? Or, I mean,
I like to joke about that, Doc. Usually on my show, I'll say, like, regardless of what everybody says about anything about what's hurting comics, the worst thing is the rain.
oh yeah,
If it rains, it's bad for shop sales.
Yeah, because people won't want to carry their paper comics out of the door and get them all humidified and
That's right.
And wait.
Well, yeah, if you're worried about humidity, I guess you could worry about that in your plastic bag also. But that's why I have plastic bags. You know, I will pay the cost so that you don't have to worry about a wet comic book.
Or you could just buy 5 million extra Free Comic Book Day bags from Diamond. And
Robert Kirkman and Skybound pulled one over on you this past week.
Well, yeah. I going back to the Free Comic Book Day, they had a wonderful Energon Universe book, and it had 3 stories. You know, Void Rivals and GI Joe and Transformers. And it gets people really excited. The very next week, there's the Transformers trade paperback, a brand new issue, and the Energon special I've already ordered in mass amounts because it's a Transformers book. Duh. Same fucking, same.
You could say
you're past 30 seconds.
I was going to let Doc get the first one in.
Well, it's the same
fucking thing.
It's the Free Comic Book Day, but a new cover. New trade dress. or
a
something.
bunch of covers at least.
Yeah.
Had that going for it.
This is a good book, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate you'd already given it away for free.
Woo.
They won't get you next year.
Just get
Robert Kirkman. I've been burned on you in every way possible, way too many times in life. I'm sick of it.
just get a price gun and like price the free comic book day versions, or get a Sharpie and just
anymore.
just get a Sharpie and scratch out the free part on that says free comic book day.
It's a variant. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get acetate covers for all those things.
Oh yeah,
Staple it on the front.
Yeah.
Staple it onto the front, and CGC will even.
And then I'm going to get Renee to do a remark on it. What do you think? We can really make some bucks. She didn't hear.
I think she got a phone call.
I never do that.
So you're beefing with Robert Kirkman, Yule? I like.
Why
it.
not? Always go to the top, right?
Yeah. Don't waste your time on any of those other jabronis. Go for the guy that's been super successful.
Exactly. I mean, we'll be talking about that later.
Yeah, you don't aim for Barry Horowitz. You go for Hulk Hogan.
That's right.
Barry Horowitz. That's a name I've not heard in a long time.
Greatest job.
Definitely legend worthy.
Yep.
We've also got
in wrestling. So we have Barry Horowitz in wrestling, and we have Don Perlin in comics. Who's higher in their thing?
Well, don't forget, what was it? Is it Scott Armstrong that was the WCW's Barry Horowitz?
Oh, yeah, he's good. Yeah,
he was a decent wrestler, just lost every match of all times.
Yeah, and he had no real personality. Yeah,
Road Dogg's old
I'm a
brother.
loser that can't win. That's the minute he wins, it's just not that great.
Remember when they tried to make him Buzzkill? They tried to make that happen.
so he's not Sean Waltman.
It's fun. No. X-Pac won titles, man. Get out of here with that crap.
Yeah,
he's a touted. I still remember that Razor Ramon match.
X-Pac was a charisma vacuum.
All right, Sparrow, the most charismatic man in thinking critical history. How you doing, buddy? You showing up
I'm doing
late?
all right, man. I'm doing all right. Yeah, for whatever reason, like my computer just wanted to really think about things this morning. Like everything I clicked on, it was like, interesting, and would just wait. Yeah, like I don't know. So it didn't want me to come on and show everybody my mad flow and show you up, Wes, with my fat rhymes.
Well, you don't want to get dissed like that on live YouTube. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I wrote you a pretty epic diss track that I sent you.
I got better rhymes than that.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I got more rhymes.
He was my producer. If he was in here, we'd start throwing it down a beat.
Yeah.
I'd hit it.
Nice.
So check this one out, Doc. Sparrow got a civilian job this week.
Oh,
and
really?
within 24 hours, he got promoted to manager.
Yeah, that sounds. It's called the curse of competence. You end up. All you have to do is just be marginally competent these days in a civilian gig, and suddenly you're the boss, and you don't know how the fuck it happened.
Yeah, it was interesting because it was one of those things where it was just you come in and they're like, okay, this is how you do this is how you do this, and like within 10 minutes you're like, I got it. Like all I needed to know was what your particular procedures were, and the rest of it I've got, and and just having like a little bit of problem solving skills goes a long way. So it was nice, but yeah, I have a full-time Muggle job now, so now I can I don't know, is that going to make me more honest about the comic industry? Who knows? Let's find out.
Yes.
What's your Muggle job?
So that's what my friend Tammy calls it, because she's, she always references in Harry Potter, and I only know this through cultural osmosis because, as we've established, I've never seen a film, I've never read one of those books. A Muggle is what the wizards call normal humans. So my friend Tammy refers to any job that's outside of your the field that you're passionate about as a Muggle job, just like the paying the bills job.
What if you're just sick of being a comic store owner?
You'll
I was no, I could not do a Muggle job. You look at me. You know me, Wes. You think I could do it?
Oh, you got the.
There also has to be a certain amount of not wanting to kill people.
Well, this job is away from this job is away from the public, so it's basically
Oh,
like
very good.
it's basically.
But he
just
still gets to play with toys. Let's not like make it like you're working at a law firm.
Oh, really?
No,
is
no,
he,
I'm-
is he
industry.
play testing Transformers figures or something
Something
like
like
that?
Oh, that would be amazing. That would be that. I wouldn't even refer to that as a Muggle job. I would refer to that as my calling.
Dream
Oh, you're
job.
calling.
Oh man. So how's Doomface coming? People are getting more and more excited. You still got the Kenneth Rocafort cover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's coming along. It's coming along really well. I've got. I just unveiled a new cover by Nate Watson that features Colonel Silverstreak on it, and came up with a new tagline for him: "His liver may fail, but his resolve never will." So that's been fun. We're getting some stuff colored right now. I just reached out to a couple of colorists. So in the next couple of weeks, I think it's really going to start to ramp up.
Very nice. Well, congratulations. We've also got obviously Doc. Doc and I have already recorded a couple videos here today, and we're going to talk about the industry. How you doing, Doc?
I am wonderful, sir.
You've had a Muggle job for what, 25 years?
Yeah, that's all I ever did. I mean, I did, I sell comics on the side. That's like I'm bored and I have a lot of extra disposable income. I buy a couple collections and then I move them.
Should I let people in on something here, Doc?
Go ahead.
Sparrow, Doc is as close to a management level position as you can get without them actually letting him have that responsibility because he would trash people.
Oh no, I am.
He's almost an executive.
That's where
That's
it is.
what I meant,
I am
executive level
slightly
position.
below C-suite. So yeah, no, it's that's all I'm like, I don't want to be. I flirted with being in comics in my teens and 20s, and then outside of the few, because there was a few people that I had met earlier in my life that really was like, oh, okay, I love comics and these some great people. And then I met too many other people in comics, and then I decided, oh no, I will straight up murder these people. And yeah, I figured, I'm probably doing the world a disservice if I do that. Instead, I will just tear them apart when necessary and be one of those people that attempts to keep them fucking honest.
Well, there you go. Well, let's see what the people have to say. We do have a few super chats here. Lane says, if you need comics or covers, hit up Fantastic Comics.
That's right. Well,
Do I just DM you? What do I got to do? Is there an e-commerce site?
No, God, no. I can't use it. Just get a hold of me on Twitter or
You got an eBay store?
No, we just do it Instagram. I usually have people contact me through there, maybe Facebook, but I can't pay attention to all that stuff. So just email me at Fantastic Comics. Contact at Fantastic.
Because I'm thinking I might need Superman versus Muhammad Ali reprint that's coming up.
Are they doing it big?
Yes.
Is it
It's going to
Treasury?
be like $100 shipping.
Never mind. You're right. It probably would be $100 shipping. It's $50 for like a regular 22-page comic book. Here.
What
No,
we
it was like 30 when I shipped you those books.
Well, that's much
if I
cheaper
remember
than
correctly, that wasn't that bad.
What we all need to do is all of us come up with everything we want to ship to Wes,
Mhm.
and then we get an overseas container and we do it like fucking,
It's called a bulk
AliExpress.
buying box, Doc. You can get
Yes.
it at any local Filipino store, and they'll just ship it via freight.
No, I'm saying we all pitch in and we fill up an entire 20-foot container of shit
Cargo
coming to
container.
you. Cargo container, like it's coming from fucking wish.com.
No. Everything
Goes the other way too.
Everything anybody that watches Thinking Critical or likes Wes in the States or even elsewhere, you got to make sure you get it to him when he's in Dallas next year?
I'm going to be in Dallas Fan Expo
So
2025.
you ship
We're
it
gonna
to
get the
him
tickets
there
next
and
month.
make him take it all home. There you go.
I
Put
said
it
I
in
would
his
just
own,
go to the Filipino store and throw it on the freight, send it back.
There you go.
It's a flat
Yeah,
fee.
you got to bring back some GI Joes. You got to bring back some Dr Pepper. Like all the
I
things,
gotta
all
have
the
some
comforts of
Dr.
home.
Pepper. I'm still jonesing.
Are we gonna also get you some chicken strips from Whataburger and like put them on dry ice and send them back?
A lot of jerky chicken strips, maybe some of that really awesome Arby's roast beef. You know,
Oh,
not
you
even on
can
the
just
bread.
ask-
Just send me the roast beef and I'll slice it myself. You know what I
There you
mean?
go. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's
frozen?
people.
You might want to
can't
actually
ship
get
people.
roast beef
Roast beef
instead.
is delicious. Adam Frey says, "Morning, gentlemen and lady. Is Renee ever doing con appearances again? I want to buy a blank cover doodle from you if you're ever in Baltimore."
Ooh, Baltimore's a good show. I don't know if I'll do it this year because it's kind of late in the year, but I'll be at Heroes Con next month, and Heroes highly recommended. It's a very comic focused show, so
Done
go
in
there.
Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte. Yeah. It's great. It's they have a huge art stage in the middle, huge artist alley. I love it.
Are you gonna have a booth, or are you just showing up there as a muggle?
Oh, I have a booth. Yeah, I'm
Very
a
nice.
real wizard or witch.
So there you go. If you're going to be in the area, maybe you can make it down to Charlotte and make that show.
Mhm.
Callum says, "I was right about Morph in '97. He is a self-insert of DeMaio. He bragged last night on Twitter without knowing the ratings are bad."
I mean, are the ratings bad though for Disney
It's a-
Plus?
It's a
cartoon.
fucking cartoon.
Why do
Yeah.
people think it's going to outdo
Live action.
like Loki? It doesn't
Look,
make-
cartoon.
That's sad.
I get it. We all want to have our opportunities to dunk on Disney. We want to dunk on their treatment of the X-Men for the last, I don't know, 20 years. Be intellectually honest, people. Like, it's a fucking cartoon. I mean, I get it. It's not going to be Invincible. Also doesn't beat The Boys, even though, in my opinion, it's a superior show.
You got a small audience.
Yeah.
Sad.
But
Unfortunately.
apparently, yeah, Morph is really into
Wolverine. Yeah.
He wants to wash Wolverine's hard to reach places.
I have a customer that comes in, and his whole thing is always bitching about how the man does something bad and how they got rid of this guy who's doing a very successful X-Men show. And so I'm like, yeah, but you know, when you think of a guy like Johnny Depp getting kicked to the curb,
on
and
Pirates,
he makes
yeah.
that studio millions of dollars, and this guy's a nobody that has an OnlyFans account. It's real easy. You know, that's a false equivalency. I'm like, it's not. This guy makes you a lot of money, and this guy is nobody with an OnlyFans account.
Yeah,
Get rid
and
of
we
both of them.
assumed because of the way these things typically go that the OnlyFans account was the reason, and that we were going to find out that there were probably DMs that were inappropriate, or like that's just the way that it goes, and that's kind of like what we all assumed was going to happen. That never came to fruition. So it may be that the OnlyFans account really had nothing to do with him being fired. They may have just decided that he was difficult. They may have just decided that, hey, we want to come in and we want to do this with the show. And he was like, no, this is my show. I'm running it the way that I want to. We've certainly heard that about Bo DeMeo, that he sticks to his guns. And that's not something that you're allowed to do at Disney. You have to have a jelly spine like Dave Filoni and just do what you're told and ruin the franchise as your executive C-suite overlords see fit. So it may be a case of that where Bo DeMeo just was like, no, this is the show I wanted to do. And they fired him, and now the show's out, and most people seem to like it and seem to think it's pretty good. And once again, they got rid of somebody talented for agenda. It could just be that. It's more likely that because we did all have a problem with the idea that Disney would fire somebody for sexual content when they're actively putting that in their children's programming.
Lade says Wes complains, but Miss Waller is his true waifu. Nah, no, definitely not. So Waller's the wall. If you were to describe my wife, she would be the skillet. Because that's what she's wielding when she's mad at me. You know what I mean? Right in the head with that shit.
Oh, boy.
She's tiny. She's a tiny little lady. She's like, Callum, that article on women in comics on CBR you read, Clownfish TV did a video on that, and the woman who wrote it lives in 2017 and probably married her cat. You have a way with words, Callum. That was a fun article. I actually couldn't get through the whole thing. It's like 18 paragraphs. I only made it through 6. So good on Cloudfish for being able to make it through the rest of it, because that was a chore. Federico de la Casa in Italy, I believe. Wes, I agree with you and what you said about the industry due to the Eisner nominee. Do you think they should have nominated Alex Campi due to fear or Piskor for guilt? Or do you think?
I I think Piskor gets nominated on talent. I think Alex de Campi gets nominated because of fear and the idea or the
Show of
desire
solidarity.
the desire to paper over. Because let's be honest, Parasocial is not good. But we've seen a lot of things at the Eisners that aren't good. And having been on the inside of San Diego Comic-Con and their processes, and having judged the Russ Manning Awards, which is run by the same people that do the Eisners, I can tell you that even 15 years ago, when judging the Russ Manning Awards, we were given the mandate that, like, well, make sure you get a certain percentage of women in there. And I said, why are we looking at who wrote the books at all? Why are we not just reading the books, judging which ones are the best, and then those are the people that win? And it was just like, no, we need a certain percentage of women. So, it's the it's the diversity award, but it's also the award that we need to go ahead and protect this person who has been our attack dog. The attack dog that we need to go out and go after people. So yeah, the Eisners are corrupt. They don't mean anything. They haven't meant anything in a long time. So just don't even put any faith in them.
This is the correct approach.
Anybody feeling anything for the Eisners these days? We do need to give a shout out to some Patreons. We have 3 new Patreon backers this week. Thank you very much to Alpha Coomer, who protects the people of Arcadia as the Mind Mage. A fantastic name. We also have Ale on the Patreon now, and she decided she's going around as Turbolass and is the protector of the modern world. And I think Turbolass is a fantastic name. And finally, thank you very much to Video Gamer 75, who is the protector of Game Central, going by the alias of Level Up, which I think is another pretty damn good hero name. Thank you very much to all that. If you're interested in supporting Thing Critical on Patreon, there's a link in the video description for that. And we've got lots of awesome podcasts with Doc, Aaron Sparrow, Jim, who should be here eventually, myself, and even 32 Flavors and Nick Weiser. Now we should get into these Eisner nominees, and there are some interesting things on there. Nothing more interesting, in my opinion, Yul, than Ed Piskor and Alex de Campi both being nominated. Obviously, Ed Piskor tragically took his own life less than 60 days ago, named Alex de Campi in his suicide note as somebody that was a driving force behind taking such drastic action. And it didn't feel like it was a coincidence, Yul. What did you think?
Well, I think so. So this was he did that in April.
It's been like 45 days. Maybe.
Chances are the nominations were done before April 1st. Okay, so it's just more coincidental that we're seeing it this way now. I agree with you all saying that, yeah, this person's going to be put on the list because they have to be put on the list. But there's no way that it was April and then a month later they finalized the list or anything. I'm sure it was already done.
I'm pretty sure voting only closed a few weeks ago.
They usually do it the year before. So I used to have Eisner people come into the store and we would like hook them. The store owner or the store employee can often be very influential in what gets nominated for an Eisner Award, at least back in the day when people shopped inside stores. And we would load them up with crazy amounts of stuff. And this was back, Warren Ellis is doing Authority and, all this other stuff that's really good and mainstream or not quite mainstream and just really good stuff going on. But usually an Eisner judges, oh yeah, there's that X-Men or there's that whatever, Conan, whatever, who gives a fuck, I'm telling you, it's the best Conan ever. And they don't care. So they're always going to look for that stuff that's way more arty, way more not mainstream. There's Wizard for that. You don't need the Eisners to do that. But I don't think the spirit of Will Eisner, as far as I know it, which is very, not. I don't think any of the awards that are given out, when they gave Chris Ware an award for talent needing higher recognition, he won Eisner's years before for all his Acme stuff. I don't think he needs wider recognition. Maybe outside of this fucking industry. But I really think that they probably have all this stuff. Parasocial came out late last year. They were going to put Alex de Campi on that list regardless. I mean, let's be real about it. There's going to be a Kelly Sue DeConnick book if she has something out. Oh, guess what? There's a Kelly Sue DeConnick book.
Yeah, because
they're going to have a Kelly Thompson book. Best writer. I read that stuff out loud, and it is. Sorry, Kelly. I know there's people out there that like her.
No, there isn't.
Family members.
I don't even think her family members like her.
But you know, oof.
Well, but like I said, when you go in there, you're given the mandate of, you know, make sure that you tick these boxes, and that's just how it is. So there's going to be a certain level of people. It's a shame that you know, you don't see crowdfunded books on there, because obviously, you know, Rini, if Fiendish was on the list as an Eisner nomination, we'd be like, oh yeah, you know, of course, because that's actually a good book by a talented person who created a language for their freaking book. you know, like.
But there's a lot of really great books and crowdfunding and indies, but it's kind of mirroring the why do live action shows get so many more views than animated shows, even if objectively one is better written. There's a prejudice, and they act like the indies in general, not just crowdfunding, don't exist. But going back to the situation at hand, you would think that if these award shows and the Eisners and the industry had any integrity, they would change their nomination if it was made before Ed's What Happened to Ed. They would change that nomination because he named Alex de Campi as his murderer.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty egregious, but they don't really care. They don't think of, either they don't think about that, or they're afraid of taking any sort of stand. But if the roles were reversed, if it was somebody that was in the club, so to say, who wrote that suicide note, then this wouldn't be happening. So that's what ticks me off. It's unequal.
What if there was enough public outcry for them to have to pay attention and address it, and then they did that? Would that be worse than having it on now?
Here's the thing. They didn't need to even publicly address it. The voting is kind of done in secret.
Wow.
All they had to do was internally make a decision of, because it's only going to come down to, you know, a handful of people.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows what they voted for, but they don't know what everybody else voted for, except for a handful of people on that kind of final committee. And all they had to do was get together and just say, yeah, you know what? I don't care if this bitch has 5 million votes. She ain't getting on the fucking list. That's all they had to do. And they never had to make an announcement. They just literally throw out every vote for her.
Mm-hmm.
If they really believe, go ahead.
I would say, in fairness, I will say this, and this does not, this also doesn't speak well of the Eisners, but it is in the sense of fairness. Let me go ahead and just reveal this. A lot of the times, the judges that are chosen for the Eisners have never read a comic. They don't know anything about comics. They don't know anything about the industry. So they certainly don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So, you know, it's probably just a case of Parasocial was one of the only books, you know, they had that, and they had some Kelly Thompson, and they're like being told, you know, we need to make sure that there's some women on here. And so those people get nominated, and they don't know any of the drama around Alex de Campi. They don't know any of the, you know, any of the things that she's been involved in, or the fact that she is complicit in Ed Piskor's suicide. Many of them probably didn't even know, and probably still don't. So, you know, there is that as well. Like I said, the Eisners are a joke from top to bottom, and have been for well over 15 years.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I agree there. But I mean, really, maybe the first year, if you even accept it. But afterwards, you know, how many award shows matter? I mean, it's all the Hollywood Awards were just so you go out and see a freaking movie, you know.
And then they stopped being about anything that would actually put an ass in a seat. And
sure,
and that's where the you know, Hollywood, their award system became about who filleted Hollywood the best. And now the, you know, the comic industry awards based on either who fillets the comic industry the most, or who sells the absolute least.
But we see it in everything. If I can get a crossover from, like, wrestlers, man, you could murder someone. They'll bring you on.
Yeah.
I'll see Alex de Campi on AEW next week. You watch.
He's running heel.
No, they'll run her as a face.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, they'll run her as a heel, but she'll be a face just by default
That's
because
what it is.
AEW
Exactly.
they can't look to save their
man.
lives.
Take that, Tony Khan.
You guys are still on this.
Yeah.
Why not? It's
I don't
still
think
on.
we'll ever not be on this.
Tony Khan's a wrestling genius. I don't understand that.
Oh my goodness gracious! These people don't need to hear this conversation right now.
Absolutely.
I will say a couple of things that I traded for this week. I traded for the new Swerve Strickland action figure and action figures of the Acclaimed. So I didn't pay money for them. I didn't buy them at a store. I didn't spend money on AEW, but I did trade a guy.
Excellent. You said I'm gonna go for all the African American celebrities in AEW.
That's right. Well, all the people that are entertaining. And if
That's
I find a
true.
Tony Storm,
Oh no!
If I get a Tony Storm, I'll be about that too, because I think Tony Storm's probably the most entertaining thing on the program right now.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I agree.
Moxley, but he's been out for a while. So, what did you think about all this, Reedy? What was the reaction behind the scenes from the more indie kind of creators? Are people reacting the same way there? We're like, what were the Eisners thinking? Like this doesn't look very, very good. It seems inappropriate.
That's the impression I've gotten from the people I've spoken to. I think from the beginning, the general consensus is I don't know anyone who knew Ed, because I know he was indie, but kind of different than what I do. But it's been just discussed at what happened, and I think this is very motivating for a lot of indie people to not want anything to do with the mainstream anymore. I think that was for some people that was still a possibility, but at least for me now, I don't want anything to do with mainstream. I don't care about the Eisners because kind of like the Oscars, we knew it was rigged, but maybe in comics there was still a illusion that it was a little bit about talent. It wasn't as broken as Hollywood, but no, it's the same thing. So just what's the point? They have no consideration for morality at all.
Well, they throw a talented thing in there, like when they're doing the reproduction, the Ed Piskor one. I think they also have the Treasury edition of that Doctor Strange that Tradmore did. They'll make sure that there is a good person in there, or something that's kind of mainstreamy, or something that the masses might know.
Honestly,
but it's Tom Taylor.
Everything should be talent, though. Everything should be people who had accomplished something in comics, have given their whole lives to comics, the best work out there, regardless of politics, or if you're in the in club. That should be what an award show like that is. But it's not.
If the people in the room voting for this stuff aren't having an argument about every single thing,
honestly,
I mean, I'm willing to have an argument for everything on that list, or against it, or what should be there on the, I mean, they should want to do it also, because we're nerds, right?
I think they don't know. The only reason that they still put anything with commercial success on it is because otherwise the rest, the readership would literally stop caring. It would be, I don't know. I can't even think of an award that doesn't, like the journalism award, whatever, the Pulitzer. That's the only, does anyone outside of the journalism industry this anymore respect something because it got a Pulitzer? No, because it has become so self-flating that that's all that matters. And honestly, I think most people look at a Pulitzer means, that means you can't actually be successful. You're a waste of time. And I think that the only reason they still include anything with, it's only begrudgingly that they accept anything with commercial success, because at this point, I'm pretty sure the most of the comic industry, they consider commercial success as a badge of failure, instead of the closer they can get to making something that literally sells to nobody, the more successful they think they become. It's an upside down fucking industry.
It's so stupid.
That is
Yes.
a good way to describe it. Yeah. But you are not the only ones, Rini, you know, when you talk about indie creators, I've heard from several behind the scenes that have had lots and lots of success at Marvel and DC and said, you know, with the way that this looks, you know, just with what happened with Ed to begin with, I don't think I want to come back. And then obviously this is just like the little turd on top of the sundae, like a real revelation that maybe the American comic book industry isn't something I really want to be a part of. Love the medium, love the fans, but they don't really like the industry as it is. And I think a lot of people have kind of come to that conclusion.
Yeah, why would you want to be in this club?
Yeah, the medium itself and the people who read it, and even I think people on the ground, like comic shop owners, that's a complete different deal. It almost feels like these are the people who actually care about comics, and the industry has become, I say, Hollywoodized. Essentially, they're chasing social clout, and not that there's anything wrong with chasing money, but so many comics out there are just Netflix pitches. That's what I mean. It's not about comics anymore. And that puts people that actually care about this medium off. And this is, with this whole Eisner situation, it just makes it more obvious than ever. I mean, when I was working for Marvel, I got that feeling, just this sense that everything was about internal politics. It was it was quite obvious. Nobody said it, but it was about who you know, who you have relations with. And sure, some people with talent will get work, but you also have to kind of play the game. And that was just nasty. That's why I went indie. And now everyone else is seeing how it is.
Maybe comics were better when people were ashamed they were working on them.
Yes. when it was,
now it's like, hey, look, I'm wearing a comic book.
I'm a cartoonist.
When Stan Lee was embarrassed to use his real name because he thought it meant that there was 0% chance he'd ever get published as a legit novelist, that's when comics were better. When the people, you know, when it was in dark hotel basements for conventions, and everyone was kind of embarrassed to be there.
Yeah, let me expand on that a little bit, Doc. I'm sorry, Rini. I'll say this, and then you can comment. You know, when you look at what comics used to be, and you look at what comics are now. It used to be that comics were made by talented people that were embarrassed to be doing comics because they felt they had the talent to be doing so much more. Now you have people who aren't even talented enough to be in comics, doing comics, and feeling like, look at how elevated I am. Look at how important I am. Comics is a low bar, and yet they act as if they are celebrities. You're not a celebrity. You know, you're somebody writing a terrible comic book. And that's the difference, is they used to be made by people who knew that they were good. Now they're made by people who think that they are good, but are not.
I was going to throw out an alternate theory to that. Do you think the reason comics are treated the way they are is because money did come in, but essentially comics are treated as R&D instead of in a medium that should be respected on its own? That's how Marvel treats, and also DC. The comics are research and development for their shows and their movies. So you have a lot of people that don't. Yeah, they want to use it as a springboard. So that's
I think Marvel and DC. Now DC, it's surprising it took as long as it did, I think, for Warner to treat them like this, because they were owned by Warner for 35 years before they started on this path too. They look at floppy comics, especially the month-to-month periodical sales, no differently than, let's see. Rini, I know this. I don't mean to ask the question of. I know how old the rest of us are approximately. Does
anyone the 2000s, Doc? Don't do it. I already feel old enough with that statement.
My question was going to be to whether or not anybody remembers every time you go into like a diner or a welcome center on the freeway when you're entering a new state, and they'd always have those little brochures that were like, it was an entire rack of brochures for all the tourist traps in the area. That's exactly how they treat comics now.
Except I'm more interested in seeing the world's largest ball of twine than I am in reading most mainstream comics these days.
Exactly.
You mean there's a gas station with a giant dinosaur statue?
Yeah,
I was like,
I
must
gotta
be
go
amazing.
check that
Cool.
shit out.
Yeah, you get into Missouri, it's like, you mean I can take a potato sack and I can go down a slide?
Yeah.
Take a stop.
Wait, there's a
I need-
ghost tour.
I need to go back to what
43
Aaron was
different
saying.
houses.
I need to
Right,
say
yeah.
something about Aaron. So, like in wrestling, you've got a lot of people that are fans of the product, and it's like become fans of fans of fans. So it's like I talk about this videotape that you keep recording over and recording over and recording over. And now you're getting images only of what you originally saw from the very beginning. And now we're getting all these, or whatever.
I'd say that's a solid theory, Yule, if I believed most of the people that they've hired to write comics had any love of or had ever read any comics.
Well, you don't think Hickman does?
No, I
mean,
think
really?
Hickman does.
Okay,
I think
all
Hickman
right.
does.
So we know one person is what I'm saying.
I
All right.
think, but the other 11 people he brought into the X office don't. That's
Well,
the
yeah,
problem.
well, I
You're
mean-
at like a 10% hit rate now.
Well, all right. So not unlike the Eisners, we've got a whole bunch of crap and one person in that category that I'll pass. That's a pass. Yes, definitely. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they're out there. They're just not concentrated in one studio like it used to be or one company. They're just kind of, Jeff Johns is out there doing his stuff. I don't care.
You didn't like Redcomb? I thought it
And
was
if it
fun.
ain't Flash, I don't care. Get your ass over to DC because you don't matter if you ain't doing it.
Yep.
Sorry. That's
So
just
Ghost
the way
Machine isn't moving the needle?
Nope.
Yeah, I sell it. I sell the ones I expect to sell. It always looks good. Hey, Fabic, don't care. If you aren't Mike Grell doing Star Slayer when I'm a kid, get your ass over to DC and make them pay you some money. Because otherwise, I don't care. I mean, sorry guys. It's just we're talking about comics and what the majority of people want. That's what they want. And everything else is in the Eisner Awards.
Well, Dana Warner Johnson got a nomination, at least for Transformers.
He sure did. He sure did. That was the
Liam
one
Sharp
I
is Liam Sharp is in there. You know, like there
Yeah,
are
yeah,
some-
but
they
guess
sprinkle
what?
in
Guess
they
what he
sprinkle
did?
in a couple of talented people to try to legitimize
Guess what
the
Liam
hacks.
Sharp did? He did not DC, not Marvel. Don't care. That's what nobody cares.
Starhenge was pretty good.
Really?
I like that book, yes.
Okay.
think it was
I wish
trippy.
you were in Berkeley because nobody cared.
I would have been
Well,
there buying
that's
the
what's-
book.
That's the impetus that's put on us though as independent creators is I go into Marvel or DC right now and be better than 99 maybe 100% of the people that are currently working there. Could I put out a better book than them? Yes, absolutely. You know what? I'm never going to get that opportunity and I don't care because I don't the Marvel and DC that I wanted to work for, that I dreamed of working for, they have been dead for a long time. So as independent creators, it's on us to create properties that you will be interested in and then to get them out to the mainstream so that you will so that you'll get hooked in and you'll be able to enjoy comics again when the two companies that traditionally made the comics that you enjoyed have just decided to stop and they've decided that they hate you and they don't need you because they're chasing some audience that doesn't exist and they're hiring writers for that audience that can't that couldn't draw flies. So that's really the rub, isn't it? Is that we have, Ghost Machine, they have to go out there and they have to try to create a universe that'll get you interested. It's been done before. People got into Valiant. People got into the Ultraverse. People got into those new universes. The problem is the staying power, the longevity. And that's where I think independent creators have the bigger challenge because it's a lot harder to stay interested in a project long term. The reason that Marvel and DC have such longevity is there's always someone new waiting to come in and take that story in different directions. And and sometimes even when a creator does stay with their independent book, like say Savage Dragon, they take it so far off the cliff that nobody reads it anyway and nobody's invested in it anymore, even though they keep doing it as like a vanity project. So the independent creators, we need to step up. We need to deliver quality product for the fans. We need to, have that relationship with the fans that keeps them coming back. And we have to avoid all the drama that turns off fans. So I think that, there are creators that are doing it. You've got Renee here on the panel. You've got Aaron Lopresti. You've got Art Taber. Everybody out there who's doing these books and avoiding all of the interpersonal drama and the fighting and getting, this fan base against that fan base. There are people that are doing it. So that's who you should give your dollar to. Give your money to people who don't hate you.
And I agree with that completely. Like, I say this, I am one of those people that is a little bit of I'm both a critic and a realist about indie
You're
comics.
a snob.
Well, a little bit. But no, I mean, and honestly, I'm fairly lowbrow when it comes to my comic taste. I mostly enjoy standard mainstream cape and tight fare from the big two. Now, that being said, Wildstorm is my favorite universe. And now the thing that, is independent creators. Yes, I think that the problem with like something with a Ghost Machine right now is they're going out and they're trying to sell on their names without when Valiant had its most success, when Ultraverse had its success, when Wildstorm had its success, it was lifted up by a very, very strong, Marvel and DC. Right now, you have a very weak Marvel and DC market. So instead, you no longer as independent creators get the benefit of that rising tide that's helping lift you up as well. So you're fighting against not only the fact that you're an unknown product, and sometimes from unknown creators, sometimes from known creators, you have so much more of an uphill battle to climb today than you would have 30 years ago doing the same projects. And that's unfortunate. And that's the only reason why I do agitate for a more successful Marvel and DC. And I think that that's the reason why a lot of you are also hoping that they get their shit together some days. Because it is hard as indie creators to, when you're the only, glass of water in the desert, but everybody just left the fucking desert. I mean, that's great.
True. Yeah, Marvel and DC drive the interest for the general population towards comics, which is unfortunate nowadays. But we also have manga, so.
And I think the person that manages to best, catch the crossover of that audience, that's the person that's going to see massive success in the indie sphere.
Talking about Rachel Smythe?
I honestly, you could throw
more Olympus.
You could throw any name that you want at me, and I'm going to go, okay, yeah, sure, because I have no fucking clue who any of these people are.
She outsold TMNT the last round. And pretty good. And hers was just a webtoon. Why aren't you doing webtoons, Reedy?
What? Who? Me?
Why aren't you doing webtoons?
Right, because I don't like Webtoons platform, but I am on Global Comics. So I tested out a few different platforms, various issues with the Webtoons platform. I wanted something with a permanent paywall and a better reader. The Webtoons reader is it's for phone reading. It's a Korean company, and in Asia, everybody reads their phone comics on their phones, on their commutes. I'm going for I like having global, or tablets. Global Comics has a phone mode as well, but honestly, there's a bunch of small nuances to why I think Global Comics' platform is better for American style comics. They have a proper PDF reader where you can read on a tablet or your computer, and there's a permanent paywall. I don't really expect to make much money off of digital comics, but it's more just because I don't want to give away free content for content that customers had already paid for with crowdfunding campaigns. But I highly recommend the platform. Though going digital is also a great way to get more eyes on your project as an indie creator. I will say that I think more people should be doing that.
Absolutely. Well, I guess we should hear from the people. We got plenty of people who want to chime in. Nerd says, I see the real reason why we don't get actual villains in our comics anymore is because we don't want to see themselves reflected in the stories.
No, they just make them. They write the villain as the hero. They write themselves as the villain, but they're the
and
hero.
they write they put perfectly normal people sentiment in the mouths of villains and think that therefore villainizes the person that they are quoting.
Yeah, it's a little weird what they do. I think a lot of the writers have villainous tendencies. They just gravitate over man, that Red Skull. He had some real good thoughts.
How do
We
you
can
say
elevate
that
that
name? How do you say this person's name?
Nerd.
Oh, it's just nerd.
Mhm.
Oh, I
Okay,
was confused too. Well, we did.
It looked like a prescription, like a pills or something.
Oh, it's like
This
that
is what
new
I
Fables.
take to maintain.
You'll ask
sanity.
your doctor if Enixerd is right for you.
Intersectional Alliance. Echo underperformed, so yeah, I'd say 97 did as well. It doesn't mean it's a bad show, but it wasn't a runaway success.
Well,
think for
nothing on
an
Disney
animated-
Plus aside from
I think
Bluey is a runaway success.
Yeah, comparing it to like live action shows and not to other cartoons, I think is the mistake. Although Bluey does blow everything away on Disney Plus. And that is a great show if you got little kids. It is really fun. It's just a little dad dog playing with his little puppy kids.
Oh,
Have an
okay.
imagination.
Everybody kept saying Bluey, and I'm sitting there going, "Is this like a?"
It's an
Like
Australian cartoon, I think.
Well, they were whenever, and I knew that it was a cartoon. I heard it was called Bluey. I'm like, what? Did they give a nickname to Blue's Clues now? Like,
Oh,
what
yeah,
the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I thought that that's what it was. So
I think Bluey is the puppy kid.
It was
He's
a
just
Lost
hanging out-
Bakshi movie.
It's
he's just hanging out with his
it's
dad.
that old cartoon Foofer, but with a facelift.
Yeah,
Just a
it's
blue dog.
fantastic. Kids love it. Galb says De Campi is one of those rare exceptions when I think some people are just born evil. I think she looks in the mirror and likes what she sees.
distinctly possible.
Don't disagree.
You think
You know,
Alex
just
de
like Michael
Campi-
Myers. Like Michael Myers. Some people are sometimes evil is just born.
I'm thinking of that
No.
Seinfeld episode where he dates himself, basically.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
great one.
He's like, I can't stand myself. First he thought, I love myself.
He's got the same haircut.
No, it was Janine Garofalo. And they were just like saying the same thing to each other. And he's like, I love her. And then he's like, I hate me. I can't stand me.
I feel like if I gave my actual opinion on Alex de Campi, you would probably get kicked off YouTube.
Yeah, well, let's move on then. Federico de la Casa, X-Men 97 was very good, but I think that many, me included, didn't want to watch it because Marvel brand is now tarnished, but I listened to just some guy.
Well, I didn't watch it either.
All my customers are watching it. I refuse because I just don't care. But
I'll
they
watch
love
it to take the taste of the acolyte out of my mouth when
You
we're
have to
forced
do
to
that?
watch that. Yeah.
Oof. Yeah.
I've got 3 little kids, and I watch so many cartoons that I don't want to watch cartoons if I'm not watching with them. And I put on X-Men 97. We got 5 minutes into the show, and my 4-year-old said, put on YouTube. So I put on
There you
YouTube.
go.
And I've asked him twice since then, do you want to watch X-Men? And he said, no, I want to watch Toy Story. So we watched Toy Story instead. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm not adverse to X-Men 97. I probably would enjoy it. But I watch a lot of cartoons, a lot of Ping Pong, lots of oh my goodness. I can't even remember the name of all of these stupid things that I have to watch. Not much fun.
I'll just
Jill
sa-
Lindsay, what's up?
I was gonna say I'll just save it for when I'm traveling for work and have nothing else to do.
You're like, why is this guy Alex the who? The what?
Dylan Lindsay. Hello all. Wes, what do you have to get? What do we have to get you and Josh to do a Tom King Batman deep dive? It could be your magnum opus of rant videos. And that would be hard because I would have to go back and reread Tom King's Batman because it's been like 5 years at this point. Something like that.
Oh, you'll be like, yeah, this Bane story is passable. It had really good art. And then you're going to be like, the war of jokes and riddles comes in, and you're like, oh my God, I thought Year Zero was bad. This is dreadful. Year Zero.
A lot of
with
people
Scott
told me
Snyder.
that was great. And when I read it, I remember thinking, holy crap, this Batman is completely incompetent and stupid.
And you will love Kite Man.
Yeah,
You
I
will.
guess so.
Yeah, no, I won't.
But that would be difficult because, like I said, I have to go back and read it all again. And then I guess Josh would have to do that as well.
And Josh, man, he's really, God, 2 people
know.
have to suffer over this. Sounds like a
Josh already
Patreon
went through- he
exclusive,
already-
if you ask me.
We already reviewed the whole thing. I don't want to do a Patreon exclusive about that. So the extra stuff we do on Patreon is all fun. Like we're doing
you gotta
Planetary.
earn good
We're
stuff.
doing Kick-Ass 2. What am I doing this week? We're going to do the Doom from Jonathan Hickman review. That'll be fun too. That was a good book. So I don't know. Eric O'Sullivan, Rini, of all the crowdfunders, you seem to be the only one with a digital strategy. Congrats. How's that going? Also, look at Sean Gordon Murphy did with the Potholes and Zorro on Massive. Would you make a floppy to sell at the LCS? Thank you.
I don't know about the floppies. Fiendish is kind of made with these big, like 50-page chapters, but I will be putting out collected editions soon, as I want to do either Amazon, KDP, something like that to reach a broader market. Yeah, the like I mentioned, I don't mean to keep shilling Global Comics, but I'm just enjoying it. It's going well. Fiendish has like 4,000 views or something, which honestly for digital is nothing. You have to. Someone in chat mentioned you have to have like millions of views to make money, but that's fine. It's getting out there, and even if a small percentage of people who see the digital comic want to buy the physical, that's great. I feel like that's the point.
Very nice.
Does the so while it is like 50 issue or 50 page kind of chapters, are there any kind of natural points in there where you might be able to split it up, or could you do it instead of, well, if it's 50 pages, that's basically just a double-sized issue.
That's giant size Fiendish.
Yeah,
Number
giant
one.
size Fiendish number 1, number 2, number 2.5.
Yeah, it could be split up. Yeah. I have done that for like preview books and stuff, so technically you can. I just don't really want to.
Yeah, not ideal.
Yeah, it's
Hey,
fun.
if you could quadruple dip into the market, go for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Can I say I don't like massive comics. They're part of Whatnot, and for people that don't know what Whatnot is, it's hey, don't buy comics at the store platform, and there you go.
Well, it's
Have you thought about Fantastic Comics Whatnot
No.
streams?
No.
There you go.
In fairness, I bought a
Yul,
shit
do you
ton
need
of
me?
back issues.
Yul, do you need me to come over and start working on your digital strategy? I'll only do it if you promote me within the first 24 hours of me being.
I don't. No, I don't like to.
No, I'll tell you
Aaron's
what.
digital strategy is let's hit Whatnot.
No, I know what the.
Oh, are you
digital
doing
strategy
Whatnot?
is.
I'm sorry. Well, I mean, I
No,
don't hate
no,
people for
I don't.
shilling. I mean, it's hard. You got to work.
No,
you
I
know?
was making fun of you.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Whatnot is a place where you can make a comic that doesn't matter. All you have to do is say, "Hey, what if we did Knight Rider, but with 2 chicks and they're lesbians and the covers were all nude?" Like that's all you have to do to sell on Whatnot.
Nice. Yeah.
It's
Is
the
that what
most
Rob
base
Liefeld's
level.
doing?
No, Rob Liefeld's actually, he's doing the same kind of Rob Liefeld quality books that he's always done, and depending on how you feel about Rob, you can go either way with that statement. But yeah, no, most of the people that are in there are in the words of your boy Zach, selling to divorced dentists who have a lot of disposable income, who think that these covers are going to be like a big thing, and for a little while they are, because of the perceived rarity of your comic is about whatever, but you're taking an image of Tila, and then you're like, well, what if Tila was naked on the cover? And we just said that was our character cosplaying as Tila. It's a way to skirt copyright. That's what Whatnot largely
And what if she
is.
was naked on the
Are you
cover?
thinking about Tila Tequila?
No, I'm talking about Tila from He-Man. I'm talking about the
Oh.
practice of grabbing other characters' IP and say you're doing a cosplay. Cover when
Wait,
all
we
you're
need to
doing
see a
is putting
Tila
that other
Tequila
company's
Tila
character.
cosplay?
Tila Tequila as Tila in Knight Rider.
I can't.
Holy cow!
How old are
money.
you? Like even I even feel like Tila Tequila is too old a reference.
Yes.
Like what are you guys doing?
I'm still talking about Flava Flav. What are you talking
Oh yeah,
about?
Wes, you better go update your MySpace page as you talk about Tila Tequila.
Yes.
You didn't watch Flavor of Love?
No,
It was,
What is
dude,
that?
that was still like 15 fucking years ago, man.
Gotta be more than that.
Like
Wait a
20.
second. I read a Burn X-Men yesterday. What do you got a problem with that?
A little old school.
Although,
Well,
you
Heidi
know
McDonald
what?
Alright, wait,
does,
hold
Joel,
it, fellas.
because nobody who's alive in comics today wants to read a John Byrne comic.
Rini,
That's
do you
what
know
I
who
did.
Tila
Still
Tequila
wins.
is?
I do, yeah.
See, there you go. I'm not completely out of my realm here. She's in her 20s. She got the
I
reference.
vaguely remember from my childhood long
I
ago.
vaguely remember that.
When I was a wee
Hank?
babe being rocked by my mother, I heard tales.
He was
of
watching
tequila,
MTV.
Tequila.
I'm not in my 20s, but thank you.
There you go.
Well,
Well, you said you grew up in the 2000s, so I assume that you were like 28 or maybe.
I was a teenager, but yeah, I do remember Tila. She was
Good
everywhere.
growing up. Not bad growing up. Yeah, the first 10 years.
Yeah,
Nobody
the first
knows
10 years
anything.
don't count. Yeah.
Exactly. In fact, I'm subtracting them right now.
Well, you know what,
says,
Rini, you're aging gracefully, while the rest of us, with the possible exception of Wes, are turning into the portrait of Dorian Gray. So, good on you.
It'll all go away soon.
Nerd
You guys
says,
look fine. You guys look fine.
Alex, diversity means seeing ourselves in the stories. Alex, fire the guy who put that mirror and turn off that light.
That's about right for.
You
for the
forgot her
comics
last
industry.
name.
Doesn't matter. We all know which Alex this.
He needed a
talking
zing
about.
on that last name, but okay.
Well, I mean, I think that takes away from the she's a bitch messaging.
Rennie, what do you think about this? It's something that
Yes,
I've
I do.
noticed. I don't know if it's something that you've noticed, but with a lot of particularly female comic book writers, but there are male writers that do this as well. A lot of them really want to make sure that the character is themselves. And it's, I don't get it.
I don't either. Well, yeah,
I do.
That's not an exclusively female thing.
No,
I think I've
no,
heard
that-
some people
there's a
theorize that
lot.
it is. It's really not. I don't really know what the reason is other than narcissism. Because you can do self-insert characters, but not badly. The key is to actually make it a character and not treat the character that is supposed. Because a lot of people, when their first books, especially, it's because they want to. It's a fantasy of, well, I can be a hero as well. But as long as you're not treating your character with baby gloves, then that could still be a good story, and that's really the key. And as you grow as a writer, you should be moving away from that, in my opinion, and writing characters that are trying to express the themes and the messages that you want to put across best, instead of just, well, this is a self-insert. That's what the sign of a mature writer. So I can't explain it any way other than narcissism.
Yeah.
You take pieces of
Aaron's-
your own life and you mix them up
Right.
within the characters. But then, those characters should be going in their own directions and making different choices maybe than you did, so that you can kind of like explore those things. So there's a piece of you in every character that you write, because it's all coming from your imagination, even if that character is doing things that you would never do or saying things that you would never do in real life, espousing values that you don't believe. A real writer will explore those things. The problem is that we have an entire industry full of people who aren't writers, who are just writing themselves, and they've never done anything interesting in their lives to draw from.
Well, and
the
they
problem.
have
I've done
no
interesting
message.
stuff, and I'm not interesting enough to be a superhero.
And they have.
I don't know. I've heard
They
some
have
of your
no-
stories, man. You could be the superhero that just is like, that was weird.
It's
Like,
your
just everything
mom
that happens around you
and
is just
everything?
like, yeah.
You could be a superhero if you dream of it.
Maybe if I dream or wish
You
upon a
believe in
star.
you. Yeah.
Gallup says Zach and Yellowfish have called her a murderer. Heel versus
Yellowfish.
Babyface has called her a nickname Yellow Flash, as Nick begins with capital C, which is everything she is.
Yeah, that was exactly where I was going.
What's wrong with Yellowfish? Pretty good
I mean,
name.
it feels like
Sounds
you're combining
good.
Yellow Flash and Clownfish into one.
Yeah, I might have. We are closing in on midnight here. It's getting pretty late, but yeah. At least some people are not forgetting about what happened. I think it feels like the comic industry wants to sweep under all this stuff under the rug. Federico de la Casa, Doc is right again. Oh God.
Yep.
The Karens in charge of mainstream think like and indie publisher. They publish for themselves and they jerk off at the Eisners.
Well, that's what the Eisners are for.
Well, it used to be actually for somewhat promoting
I always thought
things.
that Eagle Awards were better. They put it on the front of the comic book.
Well, the Eagle Awards were a little more like a little more commercial.
Dude, it was in the back of Amazing Heroes.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
would
yeah.
have
I
the
mean,
thing,
what I mean,
mean-
is commercial success factored in more with the Eagle than the Eisners.
It's hard to know, but John Byrne and Chris Claremont are doing X-Men at the time. It's both.
Yes, but Claremont
You know?
only ever won an Eagle after
John Byrne.
on X-Men after that.
So they were
So-
like the MTV Movie Awards.
Yeah,
of
they were
awards where
a little
you had, like,
more.
British.
Best Kiss,
It's
Best
got
Couple.
tea and crumpets. It's British. It's great. It's got to be better.
It's very sophisticated awards.
You know, I'll tell you what. You can go to San Diego Comic Convention and attend the Eisners. Wouldn't it be awesome to when Alex de Campi's name gets mentioned?
Or
I don't think I would put in with the crowd.
It would be awesome. The crowd,
we'll
there's
throw
hardly anybody
tomatoes.
ever there. You can really take that over with like 5 people.
You don't understand. I haven't worn anything but flip flops in over 6 years.
Well, I'm not expecting you.
I don't
but
think I have a pair of shoes
so
anymore.
many people could be doing this if they were outraged enough. I mean, like I said, you could take that room over with like 5 people.
So, Doc, would you say that Alex de Campi, in your estimation, is a catty, underhanded, no talent?
Yeah, and I think I'd see her next Tuesday. Oh, well, I kind of ruined that
meanwhile,
one.
Jim Lee is trying to hang out with celebs, and CB is staring at a sandwich. And yes, Rini, it's an excuse to get a Netflix deal.
Yeah.
Those Netflix deals aren't getting handed out anymore. I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if all you guys that are trying to. Boom's whole business model right now is completely defunct because their entire business model was make things that can get turned into movies or shows.
I thought they had a first look deal.
Yeah, it's not even happening.
We got to double down on cable, everybody. I know it sounds horrible.
Was that how you got into Marvel there, Rini? Did you send some sushi over to CB and be like, hey?
No.
Rolls here, man.
No, I think I first got in when Axel Alonso was still in charge. And I met him. I went to art school, so I met him that way. And I got recommended for work, but whatever.
You should have sent some freaking sushi rolls. You'd still be there.
It's the comics industry. It's kind of like Pittsburgh in that nothing happens there until 5 years after it happened in the real world. That's why they're still making like how do you do fellow kids type memes, and they're putting them into comics that are coming out that have yet to come out from like 3-year-old memes.
You're right. Yeah, comics are like delayed reaction.
They are.
Oh.
They are. They are so. They are your like really lame aunt that still thinks she's cool and still thinks she's 22 and hip. They are that now because that's who they've hired into that industry. So yeah, they don't realize the Netflix pitch is dried up, and they won't for another 4 years. So they're going to keep doing it.
Doc, it's funny that you say that because when I was at Boom, the owner was always coming in and he's like, you know what's hot right now? Pirates. We should do Pirates. And we were like, because Pirates of the Caribbean came out like 3-4 years ago. And he'd come in and he'd be like, I got this idea for this book called Code Breakers. And my assistant editor, Jason, is like, so that's just that show Numbers. Like you just saw that show Numbers and decided like we should do that. And then I remember Jason, because Jason had been in the I believe it was the Navy, doing military intelligence. He like when we looked through the script, he goes, so you're doing a story about code breaking that doesn't involve the NSA in any way. It's like, did you do any research into this topic at all?
Yeah. So no, this is an industry that is as behind as pro wrestling, trying to catch on to the current trends.
Okay.
Wrestling can work. Well, the thing is comic books and wrestling a little faster than comic books, but comic books you can usually see something quick, as opposed to like an entire novel or a movie that has to get made. It often will happen, usually in the dialogue more than anything. But I agree. I mean, we had that cat meme or that angry lady yelling meme on the Nightwing. And usually that guy does really great covers and is really kind of like forward thinking on them. So it was kind of strange to see that. But usually comics can adapt a little quicker, but it's often not. You're right.
Yeah. Well, when it's people, you've got people that are, like out of touch, even though they're online 24/7, but they're coming, you got Gail Simone coming in and going, I just found a site called I Can Has Cheeseburger, and we should totally make a joke about that. And you're like, oh my God, that was like, thanks, Friendster. Like, how far back are you going on internet lore?
Did you see this meme? And yeah, it's been out for 5 years. And it's like, what? How's that
Yeah,
happen?
they're 14 meme
All right,
templates
folks.
behind.
Callum says, I wanted to work at the big two, but I think I'm better off on Instagram or DeviantArt doing my own stuff, especially after the stuff I've learned.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You can
Why
really do
give your
comics
IP?
anywhere. You can do it on Facebook professionally at this point. They have mechanisms to pay you as long as you create an audience.
Exactly. I mean, there's no any one way to become successful in anything, right? I guess you have to sometimes do stuff, but I guess you got to make it. That's the important thing. Make it. And there's
Well, if you
nothing
worked for
stopping
Harvey
anybody
Weinstein,
from
there
ever
was a-
making it.
If you worked
Yeah,
for
well.
your Harvey Weinstein, there was a one surefire way.
There is a one sure way. Sometimes people don't want to crawl through glass.
Darth Messiah, do you think the explosion and acceptance of manga webtoons will change how North American audiences view comics and remove the stigma it has?
No,
No.
that's
No.
the answer. No,
'cause it's
nobody in America
cultural.
cares.
It's cultural, and America,
There's a
especially,
stigma with comics?
Read a book.
it's all there.
What?
It's less
Maybe
of
like
a
2 generations from now, maybe. But let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Maybe.
If the United States is even around in 2 generations,
Look,
Or what's the majority of this country going to look like?
well, we had this conversation last week. The Japanese culture accepts graphic, sequential storytelling as perfectly reasonable up until literally like 10 years ago. Comics, other than you get shit from your parents for the best that the closest thing you could get to a comic at a school was fucking Calvin and Hobbes, and it was just books of comic strips. They didn't sell it through Scholastic. That didn't exist.
I would get
you got
whatever
picture
Scholastic
books.
had a comic book with a superhero in it, like for 2 pages, and you get
Yeah.
like the entirety of that magazine with just for that.
Yes,
Just for some lame knockoff.
I look at Garfield.
yeah. And up until about 10 years ago. So you're looking at 40, 50 years from now before there's even the slightest possibility of it being accepted as the mainstream delivery medium.
Manga isn't collected like we collect comics either, though.
No,
by
it's
people.
not.
Like
it's disposable.
Exactly. And the thing is, and I often will say
You gotta call
this,
Jinx on that shit, guys. Like, what are you doing here? Fucking amateur hour. You say
you,
work
you
the
and
same time,
Doc
you
have
better
become
call
the
Jinx.
they become the Tomax and Zaymon
Yeah.
of the channel.
Fuck.
all I'm saying is, well, fuck Manga.
In stereo, bitches.
No, what I'm saying is that we should be throwing our comic books away. It makes it
Eric
more
Green said that when he
collectible
was
for people
a
later. That's why it
teenager-
becomes rare.
He would tuck his comic books into his sock and then put his jeans over it so no one would see him walking around with it.
Yes.
It's not that bad anymore. You can throw one in your back pocket now. No, nobody thinks you're a dork or nothing.
It's
Sure they do.
less. It's less.
They do. What?
But it's still far from being a accepted mainstream. Like, oh yeah, the
Dude.
guy, dude. I can
When
here's
Sienkiewicz did that Moon Knight cover with the Werewolf by Night, the blood dripping on the crescent throwing star that he has, I waved that freak flag in front of everybody. I want you to know that.
here.
And that was high
Here's-
school in the 80s.
Here's when you'll start seeing it. When you're in an actual executive meeting and the guy, or you're waiting in the lobby for a meeting, and there's a dude, reading a comic book before he goes into a meeting. That's when you'll see it. That's when it's accepted. Until then, the business world is going to ignore it. It's going to consider it childish. Even if
Isn't Archie Digest, you go into the dentist's office?
when you are going to the family dentist that also treats kids. Not the adult dentist, though. If you go to the dentist that doesn't treat kids, guess what? That shit ain't in the office.
Yeah, you're a kid thumbing through Red Book, going, "They still make this?"
Yes, exactly. We're still stuck with whatever issue of Sports Illustrated was the last one before they canceled it.
All right. Next
Yeah.
up, Darth Messiah says, Rini, what are your thoughts on global comics? Can it surpass Comixology? Have you looked into Omnibus, another digital comics platform?
I have not looked into Omnibus. I'll check it out. Yeah, I don't Comixology isn't a thing anymore, right? That just got merged into Amazon.
No, it got run into the ground and
Comixology still technically exists, but you have to use it through your Kindle, and it's very hard to find the books and stuff.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I never use Comixology much. I don't really read books digitally. I'm just putting my book out digitally because I know other people do. But yeah, my experience with Global Comics has been great. I hope it is successful. It's just they have like the Boys and Invincible are on there. I know Vault just put pretty much their whole catalog on there, so they're pretty serious. There's a lot of good stuff there. Oh, dog.
I'm sorry, someone's gonna have to talk. I got dogs.
All right.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'll go for it. I got something to say here.
Do
which comes to nobody's surprise. Comixology. It was run by buffoons, and now those buffoons are over at Distillery, so that's why they're making such a huge splash.
What happened?
Did you see that Azzarello Rizzo book that they did? By the way,
no. Did anybody? It's Distillery.
Dude. Well, I mean, the store has to order. That's worth getting. Just like
yeah.
If you like,
there's definite talent over there. It's like I love. I love most things that Mirka Andolfo does. I've not checked out Blasphemous because that just doesn't look interesting to me. I liked Sweet Paprika well enough, and I like her art style a lot. But yeah, there's just not enough stuff. It's like you said, Yule. Why do I care about this? So.
Don't get me wrong. Like when we talk about comics that are coming out next week, I love indie stuff. I'm really kind of trying to go everyman when I say that. That spiel about who cares. About Jeff Johns leaving. I do. I love when a comic creator goes and stretches their wings. But what I even like more is when someone is really wacky and then they come into the mainstream and try and lend some of that. That's when I'm like, oh. But I personally enjoy that type of thing, and I know a lot of people don't.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I agree with you. I like to see, in a perfect world, we'd have these people going out and doing, their own thing and, really like swinging for the fences and knocking it out on their own projects, but then also coming back and, raising the tide for all ships by doing stuff at the big two. I don't think that it comes from any like lack of desire on Jeff Johns' part to do DC books. I think it's the fact that, Jim Lee's company can't be bothered to call him or other creators back when they put pitches in. So of course you're going to do your own thing. Jim Lee's got to put out another bunch of trash, fire, and ice books while he fiddles his Rome Burns because he just doesn't give a crap. He's just waiting for his golden parachute, showing up on the red carpet and hobnobbing with celebrities instead of trying to make the company viable. That's, So why would you put effort into that? Why would you keep trying to pitch up against a brick wall?
Federico De La Casa, why do you think Marvel doesn't hire Hirokoshi, given his My Hero Academia is just over to do X-Men? They hired Kia Asamiya in the early 2000s. The Karens won't allow it.
They can't afford him.
They can afford him. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know if it's just that, but I don't know.
Mia did the X-Men. People were not super thrilled with it. I mean, part of it had to do with Chuck Austin.
I was going to say.
But I don't know if people were ready then, and I don't know if they would.
Was it like the Nakatomi Corporation taking over the Four Horsemen?
No, he has a certain art style that's. I'm sorry, Irene. I totally cut you off.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I don't know who Kia Asamiya is, so
I can't remember the books that they used to do, but it was like 1980s or 90s, like super popular manga at the time. Or
yeah, so kind of like the very pointy noses on characters.
Very pointy
nose. Yeah. Well, Horikoshi has that style as well. Well, so I think stylistically that probably would be it. Well, there are many issues I could see arising where even if they hired him as a writer, first of all, I don't know if he would take it because that's not in the Japanese tradition to treat comics that way. In Japan, comics it's a creator's IP. You don't get hired by a company to write their IP, and they treat creator-owned original IPs. It's sacred. This is your IP. So I don't even know if most Japanese creators would take that. But you're right. I think the regular American audience that reads superhero comics specifically would be open to that art style or even that writing style. There's all sorts of cultural differences. You have to really understand all those things. So I would, and also, the Karens. I feel like they would try to get in his way. So I kind of don't want this to happen, even though I want him to make money.
See Ultimate X-Men.
I think that manga style can definitely work within the American comic book market, but there has to be like a blending period. For example, I would say that Joe Madeira, one of my favorite comic book artists of all time, especially on X-Men, his run on X-Men was beloved, and it was very manga, but it was a very appealing manga style. Whereas I feel like Kia Asamiya's didn't really fit the X-Men characters the way that Joe was able to kind of combine those influences. So I think it could work. I just don't like Renee said, I don't think that you're going to get Japanese mangaka coming over and doing work for hire that they don't own, and that they have people telling them how and when and why they can do things.
There'll be a special Batman book where they have a bunch of other Japanese people working on it or something, and then it's one and done.
And Batman will say, "Let's all try to do our best."
That'd be great.
The intersectional alliance, I think at least in Marvel DC, the self-incidents are due to a lack of experience and because the writers want to put their values in the book.
Or their own lack of values, as the case may be.
Oh.
Going back to the "there's no villains anymore" comment from before, there are villains. It's just the heroes have become villains. They act like they're villainous and they're narcissists. So it's reversed because it's, I don't know. So all the promoting people based on not merit and everything but merit has led to narcissists getting positions of power in American comics. That's how it is. And narcissists create characters that are villainous, and they don't know how to write aspirational stories.
Absolutely. Eric O'Sullivan, Renee, is there anything in the public domain you'd like to adapt and publish? Cheers to the panel and the best live chat in my geeky week. Cheers. Cheers to you, Eric.
Not off the top of my head. No, I'll think about it. I never thought of this before.
It's nothing in the public. Superman's going to be in public domain in less than 10 years, right? Do you like
Renee
Superman?
could just create her own Superman if that's what she wanted to do. Why would you, that's kind of the interesting thing is, when you're working on an independent book, and I've wanted to do it forever, and now just finally working on Kneel Before Doomface, it's so incredibly freeing. It's the most fun that I've ever had with anything, and I've enjoyed most of what I've worked on in the past. Obviously, I loved working on Darkwing Duck. I think Silvani and I did the best Darkwing Duck in the world, and I don't think it can be surpassed, and certainly not by Dynamite. But the difference in having no restrictions on what you're going to do, on being able to create the characters the way that you want to create them and plan out their arcs, and then have them kind of dictate what their arcs are, the more personality that you give them, the more experiences that you give them. There's nothing like it. And once you've done that, it's really hard for them to jangle any keys in front of you, even if it is in the public domain, to work on somebody else's creation or do like your version of it. You can do your version of it right now. You just call it something else.
Yeah, I think that's just taking inspiration from other IPs that we love. Also, I didn't grow up with superhero comics, so that's also the problem. I don't really know. I have some.
You could do Ultraman.
What? Oh, Ultraman. Yeah, but I don't know. That's not how IP works in Asia. I guess the only public domain, so to say, stuff I would love to adapt is from stuff like Lovecraft or Edgar Allan Poe and those types of stories, because I love that kind of like something from literature.
What's your favorite Poe?
Dameron.
I was gonna say, don't say Dameron.
What? The Raven.
All right, that's good.
Nerd says, due to an old study done by Lego, the answer is actually interesting. Boys, men emulate, and girls, women project. Boys want to be James Bond, but Barbie is a representation of her. Stories reflect this.
Pretty
So I
much.
hear. I don't read those kind of things.
If you watch the Twilight movie or read the books, that is true. Because that character, that's the main character, she's literally nothing.
Yes,
The
you'll often see it. You often see this in a lot of female-focused YA, where the main character is kind of a blank slate that you can project yourself onto, because they're targeted at female audiences, and it's not a really a criticism or anything else. It just explains why.
I want to ask Renee a question pertaining to this.
No, this
you hear something like this, and then you're like, "Do you have
bullshit.
Do you have to fight this thing? Like, not necessarily your own. Like, oh, not only do I have to fight my inclination to want to do it this way, but now everybody knows about it, and I'm going to do something to make sure people know I don't want to do this." You know what I mean?
No,
How do
I
you
think
play this now?
these sorts of I see I almost view it from an outsider's perspective. Like, I think just because statistics and generalizations exist, that doesn't mean it applies to absolutely everybody.
Absolutely.
So that, like, I think some people would be offended by, I don't know why, by all these. And if you say anything about, well, males and females have these differences, it's offensive in the West now, and I don't really get it because it's a generalization, and it's also okay, and it probably would be more helpful to just recognize that there are these different preferences in media between demographics, and just create media that would suit those demographics that way. If you want more women to read comics, well, let's just admit that instead of changing comics that were for men and boys to be something else, let's create different lines of comics that fit what women and girls read. So but sorry, going back to your question, it doesn't really bother me.
We take this study and we're talking about the most carbon copy. Let's make sure everybody, you're not making a comic book for everybody, right? I mean, it would be nice for I
don't think anybody.
These studies are what people like. This is what people like. You're creating something you like, right?
Yeah, I'm creating something that I would like to read. Though I don't think I had this. The last time I wanted to create a character that was a self-insert, like this is me as a, I don't know, like a little hero character, I was like 10. So I don't know. I feel like I've changed since then. If other people like those stories, because you see it in not just YA has a lot of those self-insert or blank slate main characters that the readers can just put themselves into, but you also see the same on the male side in isekai in Japan. So it's not exclusively one side or the other. If people enjoy that, then that's great. You just have to recognize that's what it is.
Have you seen that Goodbye Pun manga? The main character is like this ghosty penguin looking thing, and everybody else is just beautifully drawn and illustrated, and the story is going on. He's kind of like a nothing as he's, I mean, I haven't really read it, but it's pretty sweet looking.
Yeah, I haven't read it either. Yeah, a lot of manga are like that.
Yeah. I think the problem with the generalizations is there's a lot of people in the world that don't understand that just because here statistically the majority of women do this, the majority of women do that, the majority of men do this, the majority of men do that, they're kind of too dumb to really understand that it's statistics, because it's like I saw a meme yesterday where it was, statistically most women are 5'4", and the woman replies, but I'm 5'6". It's like, that has nothing to do with it.
Why can't people just view that? Look, you're different. Take pride in that. That's cool. Like, right? You're not including me. Fine, don't be included. Be a rebel. Jeez.
Yeah. Because being average is that's like your base. You know what I mean? So being under average is worse, right?
Well, I mean, it depends on
I don't think 5-foot girls are average at all. I think that's just like, that's perfect.
I'm just saying,
you get a hug and they're right here.
It depends on what you're measuring, because if it was par, you want to be under.
Sigma Comics, HH to the fellas. Shout out to the Thinking Critical team from Otaku Fest Miami. Keep it tuned to Thinking Critical and always support them. Volume 4 of Here Comes the Calico manga hits Kickstarter on May 28th. Sign up today. Absolutely do that. It'll be a lot of fun. Have you thought about doing it the way that HH and the guys do? They have their regular like comic format version of Here Comes the Calico, and then they do a black and white manga-sized tankobon like version.
Oh, yeah. My friend Phil does that as well, Phil Diaz. I think that's a great idea. If reformatting your comic for, like we were mentioning before, if you can split it into floppies, that's a different market. If you can combine it into trade paperbacks, that's great. And doing a manga reformatting for people that are more comfortable reading that way. Yeah, I have considered that. That's really cool that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, those guys are awesome. And I hope you're enjoying the weather in Miami. It's probably quite nice. Caleb says they would treat Hirakashi like a pet.
Oh, probably.
Sure they would.
I don't know.
I assume they would get something done, and then it would be put out. A person that's from another arena, you're going to allow them to have whatever they want to do. They're not going to be bent to Marvel's will, right? Yeah, that's what I think.
I hope so.
They had a really good manga artist writer on a Star Wars Visions book about a month and a half ago. That was
That was
phenomenal.
so.
Wasn't that good?
I had to reorder that bad boy. It was. I almost read it. That's how good it was.
That's the second one that he's done so far.
Yeah,
he did another one with different characters, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
that's
it
a
was
high
like,
praise from Yule. Like Yule's like, I almost read a Marvel Star Wars comic. That's how good it was.
I almost did.
It was
if
good.
If you are a person that buys a comic, I might read it, but it's got great art. That was all of their visions like that. Like they did a Momoko one also. If you dig her art, really nice looking stuff. Really cool.
He also says, on what Intersectional said, they mostly insert their fetishes and who and what they want to do.
Yes,
Perks loves using that screen from Police Squad that says, the title screen that says the writer's barely disguised fetish.
Yes.
He's used that in a lot of videos.
Yeah. Nerd. How is everyone forgetting Fake Red? This has been hiring mangaka. It would work, or been tried. Hiring mangaka would work, but the focus would have to be U.S. audience instead of Japan. Fake Red's good, but obviously it was created for Japan and then moved over to America after the fact. They're doing that right now with, what is it, Batman Justice Buster, and then Superman versus Meatballs.
Yeah,
and,
that's actually doing. I sell that. They like the idea of Superman eating.
Superman Messi does it. Yeah.
Oh,
then they hired a company to do that. Was it Samurai Deadpool? And it was so fantastic. They ended up having to hire or pay them more money so they could bring it over to the U.S. They didn't think about that in the initial agreement. Wow. They certainly have done it, but they haven't really done it with an American focus in the beginning. Calm says there's an Ultraman Rising trailer which looks good and it looks like a pro-father story. My wife will be very happy. That's her favorite superhero of all times.
Every time somebody says Ultraman
stories.
Every time somebody says Ultraman, right? I think of the guy from I can't figure out whether or not they're talking about the guy from Ultraverse. No, Prime, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The evil Superman, or if they're talking about the Japanese character.
I always go through about 3 character images in my head too before I arrive at the correct Ultraman, and I don't know why that is. I think it's just that sort of name where you're like, wait, is that?
When I was a kid on the UHF channel, there was Speed Racer, and then it was Ultraman, and then it was the '60s Spider-Man. Like, boom, that was what I watched as a kid growing up.
The way you set that up, Yule, I thought you were saying that you were a kid and you were on the UHF channel. And I was like,
I was on that would have been hot. That UHF channel, oh man, there were some good shows. But yeah, Ultraman, Speed Racer, and of course that's Spider-Man. That's what I was reared on.
Except he says there's a manga called DRCL, The Midnight Children. It's a slight retake on Dracula by Shinichi Sakamoto. Please look at his artwork.
I will look at it right now.
Check it out.
This will be the whitest eye Dracula you'll have ever seen.
But will it be as good as Blood Hunt is the question, right? We got the ultimate vampire story going on right now at Marvel.
We sure do.
Yeah, sure. That's
ultimate. It's the ultimate vampire story at Marvel.
That's like saying Twilight's the ultimate vampire book. No,
I have the ultimate vampire stories from Marvel, and they're collected in these big omnibuses called Tomb of Dracula by Gene Colan. So I've already seen that.
There's a Spider-Man, giant-sized Spider-Man where he fights Dracula. It's awesome.
Wait, didn't we say event? Did we say event?
Gorgeous.
I just want to make sure.
This Midnight Children art is gorgeous.
Eric O'Sullivan, Reenie, what's your favorite American fast food and why is it Arby's?
Dude, I was going to ask her that. You're wasting $2.
No, it's not Arby's. I don't really eat fast food, but I guess Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A is delicious. Yeah. I mean, it's still Arby's. But...
What's your ranking of In-N-Out Burger? Let's get to the important questions here.
Yes, it is.
It's fine. We don't have them here. I'm in Georgia, so I'm
It's
just gonna,
number one.
I'm
That's
just gonna
the
dance
answer.
around that question.
Are you coming?
So
Are you
it's-
coming out to San Diego Comic-Con?
I would like to. I'll see if I can make it. I'll just be walking around, but yeah, that would be great.
We will
Booing
get
at
you
the
In-N-Out Burger
Eisners?
then. That will happen. We will we'll get you all the
Yay!
In-N-Out Burger that you can stand.
So
Yeah,
are
you
you
need some
intimidated by
double-doubles.
Arby's? Is it the Curlies? What is it?
No, I just haven't. I've been once, and my impression is I can see why people like it. It's like a burger with nothing but meat. That's great, but I like having other stuff. I like.
If it had more vegetables, it would be more friendly to you.
Yeah, I like having veggies, and I just really like Chick-fil-A too.
Yeah, Big
So,
Montana's not going to be for you.
No.
It's a pound of roast beef on an onion roll with extra cheese.
Oh,
Oh,
I gained
gosh.
3 pounds just now.
I know.
Uh,
Thank goodness it runs through fast.
You don't like pretentious bread?
No, not
Like-
particularly.
Banana bread, whatever.
Pantera bread.
Pantera bread.
Speaking of which,
Pantera. That's the
Pantera.
most
I-
metal bread. That's
That's
the most
my
metal bread
favorite
ever.
place
Doc.
to. Yeah.
I am going to come up with. I am going to launch Pantera bread, and you're just going to walk in and probably get hit in the face with a mosh pit.
There you go.
That's the idea. And
Are
it
they
makes you
fast
hungry.
food? It's not fat, I guess so.
No.
So.
Panera bread? Yeah, I would
Yeah,
say
definitely.
it's
It's all pre-made.
yeah.
It's as fast food as Subway.
They
They
just
make it
pretend
the
to be
same when you order.
fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just shove everything together, but it's all pre-made ingredients.
Mm.
Callum says it's what if the main characters are children up against a vampiric force? Please look at the art. It says everything about the manga.
I just looked at it. It's gorgeous. I'm gonna go check it out.
What does it say about the manga itself, though, Aaron? It says everything. What is there to
It
glean
says
from
this
the art?
book looks damn good. I mean, I can tell you that. Like, I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, the art's drawn me in. So now I want to see what this story's about.
Is it colored manga?
No, it's black and white from what I just looked at online.
Did you order a copy?
No, I'll go to a bookstore and I'll support.
What
a
does
local
Callum
business.
have to do to sell you on this, man?
He already sold me on it. Why are you prevaricating? I'm in.
He's just not ordering it on Amazon.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to an actual bookstore because I like
don't
I like
like
going to
Amazon.
actual
That's
bookstores.
right. Real bookstores. That's what it's all about.
We do have time for, I guess, one more topic. Did you realize this? Obviously, you are a comic store owner. You do the ordering. Did you realize it had been over 2 years since they had a Justice League book out for DC Comics?
Not when the Titans is coming out. They're way as cool as the
Oh.
Justice League ever
Kind of
was.
passed them up, huh? Isn't that crazy?
You
'Cause
forget
when I-
Justice League, King Kong, and Godzilla. That's been
Well,
coming
that is
out for
true.
what feels like 2 years.
It's been coming out for a while. But when I think about DC, and I've looked into the numbers and stuff, the consistent sellers are Batman and Superman. Then it's like Flash and Justice League.
Mhm.
And to
I don't
have
even
one
know
of their
how
4
Flash is selling.
bestsellers. Well, Flash isn't doing it right now, but traditionally Flash is up there, normally a top 20 selling title, along
Yeah.
with Justice League. I can't believe they would go 2 years without one of their 4 best-selling comic books.
Well,
Do you,
They need-
wait, do you think? Hold on, let's think. There's such. DC's fucked, right? We all know this,
Doesn't
right?
it see that way?
They have no cohesiveness. I hate to be all, oh, you're gonna have continuity or everything. You gotta have a line, a thread, something that you can pluck at from different areas, and we can know what. It's just all over the place, and it's really mashed potatoes in the wall and all that stuff. Just throw it there. And that's DC. It's been that way for a long time, it feels. Like sometimes they have good stuff in spite of it. And no Justice League, I think, is Justice League's never really stuck around. I mean, it had its real long initial run, and then we had really good eras of them, but they usually end, and you're like, God, I want to get rid of this fucking Justice League book by that time. Justice League Detroit, Justice League when it became a not funny book after the funny books, after Meltzer and all those other guys are gone, Justice League kind of sucked. Chuck Austin comes on, Chris Claremont, I think, did some shit, and it just sucks. And Justice League isn't really like the greatest thing always, but to not have something where your main characters are in a book and they are having adventures together, I think is very, very bad. Unless you don't care about Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman. You know, if you don't care about them, I can understand.
Who cares about those characters?
I ran all over Doc. Go for it.
Hey, we need, you need.
Doc doesn't seem like DC Comics.
Well, that's true. That's
We're
why
not
I
talking
talked
X-Men
over.
here.
That's why I talked over it.
Yeah.
But Doc can make an Avengers, an Avengers comparison. So it's important to have those big heavy hitters together in a book.
It really is. Honestly, I guess they're kind of looking at it as World's Finest is the book that's filling that void at the moment. Whether it is or isn't is, and they're looking at it like, well, Wonder Woman doesn't sell any units anyway, because Wonder Woman doesn't sell any units anyway. So if she's not in it, honestly, who cares? So I feel like that's kind of where they've taken Justice League at this point. Like, all the rest of the characters, none of them are really the determining factor on whether or not the book's a success. And we already have the Superman Batman team up book in World's Finest, so that's filling the niche.
But it's about elevating the other characters in a team book like that. You might not care about Thor enough to get his own book, but I do like it. Or maybe I will get Thor as a result of it. You know
I get that point, but they're going with this weird. The comics industry has had this weird philosophy for a while now, where the only way to get one thing over is to take the more popular thing off the table, so that the reader is left with no choice but to accept the thing they want to get, that the publisher wants them to get over. And I feel like that's where they were at. They were trying to get Titans over, trying, couldn't. So fuck it, take the Justice League completely off the table, so readers have no choice but to buy Titans. But because they forget the fact that readers have a choice to stop reading. That's mostly because they think we're dead.
I see somebody in chat talking about Legion of Superheroes, and when it was the 80s and New Teen Titans was the #1 selling DC comic book, and Batman wasn't even close. The second book was Legion of Superheroes.
I get it.
Those were great times.
Yeah, the thing is, that was where the publishers have this philosophy right now where nothing is inherently better than anything else, and that they are all equally as good. It's the only thing that makes sense, that because they publish, they're all equally as good. And as a result, if one thing is more successful than another, that means you have to take away the successful thing to make the other thing more successful. And they look at it as a zero-sum game.
This would be the Justice League I would do right now, since let's say the mandate in the company is we need to have a Justice League comic book. I would take the Action Comics approach, where they're having a rotating writers and art team working on the book until you can settle on something. And if, I know it's not great as far as like creating future sales, but the holding pattern of a book like that would still be beneficial. Maybe Firestorm gets a chance to shine, or I always bring him up because I guess I like Firestorm. Anyone, I don't care. Except for the Tom Mandrake version. That was garbage. Couldn't stand it. But they need to have a Justice League book. I don't not having it is weird. It's like, it's strange. It's strange. Every other team, like New Teen Titans, aspires to be as good as the Justice League. That was like a thing. And now that the Titans are the only group that's out there, and they're like supposed to be taking the place of that right now, it doesn't feel like it's a possibility. These characters have never had a chance to, there was the time when Dick was Batman. Now he's back to being Nightwing. And I never thought he would be Batman going forward forever. But there's still that feeling that Nightwing, if he's on a team, it's lower than the Justice League. So you can want the Titans to be as important as it is. It'd be like the New Warriors. Firstly, you're calling yourself new. and I don't care.
Well, New Avengers.
If
did the
they're
same
not the
thing.
Avengers, the new Avengers ain't the Avengers, you know. But it will always be that way. If I see that robot Kang guy or whatever he was in that book, and he's in an Avengers book, it's a lesser group. If Gilgamesh is in Avengers, it's a lesser Avengers team. You know what I mean?
Wait a minute, Yul, let me ask you this. Who is the worst character to ever be created for the Avengers? And follow-up question, why is it Silverclaw?
I am not the big Avengers fan. So Silverclaw, is he the guy with the big head ornaments? I'm not.
No, she was like
exactly
a little Aztec or Mayan lady that, you know.
Oh wait,
silver
in
and
the
had claws.
Busick George Perez run? That
Yeah,
character?
the Busick when they were
Oh,
doing like
I kinda like that,
triathlon
right.
and all those characters.
Dude,
Yeah.
I hated triathlon as like I'm like, oh, this fucking character. And if we would have said woke back then, I probably would have used the word. But he won me over. That whole organization thing was
The triune
so
understanding.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
that
it
was
was so sweet. Oh, I love that time. No, it's D-Man, of course. We all know that.
Dr. Druid.
Worst Avenger. What?
Dr.
Dr.
Druid.
Dr. Druid? That's a bad one. Yeah, definitely.
Although when they brought him back and they made him like, look, he's cool and he's got hair and he's in shape now. I was like, no,
Nope.
it's keep him bald and fat. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, totally.
Did he go
So
and get
Titans-
Rogaine?
Titans under Tom Taylor didn't move.
Not really. They're trying to put it in the back of his swan song story in Nightwing. I saw a 3-page excerpt of his Titans. I just think that Nightwing being in a group, it's the lower group. Sorry. It's just always going to be that way.
Yeah, but they also had him going down to South America and planting trees and fighting deforestation. And they're like, oh, this is the Justice League? The Justice
It's
League
kind
will be
of-
fighting.
No, it's like
Doomsday.
Teen Titans back in the late 60s, early 70s, you know, Nick Cardy drawing it and stuff like that. You know, they were all activists and hippies and shit like that. And I guess those characters can still, you know, have those feelings. It's just weird when it's Starfire.
It's always odd to me because it's like Nightwing is such an odd character for me to
Awesome
like.
character.
Well, no, but like to put on a team, like, and he's good in Titans, but I always feel like he's best on his own in his own book when you have somebody who's not Tom Taylor writing it. You know, I just always feel like he kind of fits into that little like Daredevil niche where he's just better on his own. Like you don't put Daredevil on a team.
On one of those Josh Williamson cluster Fs, he had a part where he was having Nightwing bark out orders and do stuff, and I was like, yeah, no, that's Nightwing. I like it. I love it when Robin used to tell the Titans what to do. You know, Wally's like, I'm not going to tell you. Fuck you.
That's one of the reasons
Get
I
my
love
shit
Young
done.
Justice.
You
I
know
love
what I mean?
Young Justice season 1 so much is because they had like Robin as like 14, but it was Dick Grayson. So he was still, because he worked for Batman, he was still taking control of the team. All these older characters, you know, he was still the smartest guy and the most qualified.
Awesome.
I like the new Teen Titans. I thought it was a great book led by Dick Grayson. I don't know what you're talking about, Yul.
It was no. There was a time when that was the #1 book. You weren't here for that.
No, it's bigger than X-Men.
Bigger.
It's awesome.
Yeah, don't get
It's
crazy.
up there.
On par. But
I
it
didn't see that
did
evil
that
little
by
word.
it did that because it was better than Justice League, not because you had to take the Justice League off the table.
Yeah, not
You
very
know what I
smart.
just decided? You know what commission I'm getting from Lopresti this year? I want a Nightwing Nightcrawler piece. I want Nightwing Nightcrawler team up, and I want Lopresti
I like
to draw it
that.
for me.
All right. That's good.
With Sludge in the background?
I mean, he could make him fight Lord Pumpkin if he wants. I'm down with that.
I thought you said sluts in the background, and I was really
No.
confused for a second.
It's like, Wes, do you even understand either of these characters?
It's a good birthday party they were having there. Very nice. All right. Well, I think we talked enough about that stuff. I guess it's time to start wrapping things up. And I do want to say thank you very much to Nerd. Unfortunately, I can vouch for Panera Bread. Most of the food is made fresh. They hardly use pre-made ingredients. My other is a higher up there. Oh, his special person must be in the Panera Bread industry.
Whoa, cool.
Yeah, but it's not
They're
like
all
they're
over the
cooking
place.
your food when you order something. The soup's already made. They just make you a sandwich.
It's a trick. It's a Panera plan to deceive us.
Exactly. This guy.
Disinformation.
Wes, I don't know why we gotta wrap up. I don't have to be anywhere. I could go another half hour.
I was going to say we should. There's so much Legion of Superhero chat. If you want us to go an extra hour, how much would that have to be in a super chat on that one? We're just going to talk.
I mean, come on. Let's have some things that Rennie can join us on. Like, let's not get into Legion of Superheroes.
Who's your favorite superhero character?
I'll just sit here like, what?
Do you like Fantasy? Do you like? Are you a Wildstar? Wait, Wildstar? That's his name. I like that character. What do you think about that character? He has that flash. Yeah, he's really just energy in a suit. That's what kids want to read about,
I read the classics, Watchmen, V for Vendetta. And a few others. That's it.
Remember, the 5th of November.
Yep. Blame
Mr.
art
DC.
school for not forcing us to read more. Sorry.
Mr. DC Comics, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Ric Flair, the Teen Titans got to beat the Justice League to be the top dog. You need a top artist and writer. So you would need the Teen Titans to lay waste to the Justice League, maybe murder them? Would that be the way to do it?
There was the 4th issue of New Teen Titans had the Justice League on the cover also. It's like a white cover, and they're all standing and they're facing off against each other. And yeah, there is a little bit of it's not beat them up, but I want to get the job done without your help is the kind of thing that the Teen Titans should always be striving to be. But when it's the Titans, no Titans book has been good. Maybe the Johns one, and even that went haywire at the end.
I like Dan Abnett's Titans book during Rebirth, but it didn't sell well.
I'm not a fan. Sorry. Not sorry.
Oh, you're one of those snobs again. I don't know.
I'm telling you.
It'd be hard for the
Teen
Titans to beat the Justice League anyway.
No good.
The Justice League has Superman and Wonder Woman, and the Titans don't have anybody that can live up to that. You know what I mean? It's very, very difficult.
But shit's so chaotic in the main titles that they must feel they can't put a Justice League team together, I guess. But that's why I said they should just have rotating stories. When they did a Justice League Confidential, I think it was called, something like that. They would just have rotating writers and artists for a while.
Well, seeing Superman and Wonder Woman together in Tom King's Wonder Woman made me never want to see them together in a comic again. So maybe we don't need a Justice League title.
Man, I couldn't even read that one, and I'm not a hater, but I just could not care.
Are you talking about when they went shopping for Batman's birthday?
Yeah,
that was a rough book.
Dude, that Superman. That Superman is not the Superman that was friends with Batman. That guy died or was in something else. The Superman is from another thing. You aren't still friends. Sorry.
Here we go.
Continuity.
We apparently hit one of Yule's buttons. And I do want to say thank you very much to Reedy for showing up here and joining us up at the little geek talk. And she's got big things popping. We got Fiendish #3 on the horizon.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
You can get your Fiendish on. There's a website and there's a YouTube channel. All those links in the video description.
I can confirm for everyone in the chat that I have backed it, as will everyone I respect and admire. So go back Fiendish.
Thank you. And
when's
also,
that compendium coming out?
Compendium? You mean
when's a fat collection of 1 and 2 coming out?
Hopefully this year. That's my plans at least. But I'm having some issues with formatting it. But this year sometime. And chapter 3 will be next year. I'm taking my time with it. I have a sign up. I use the email sign up on the website as a universal sign up, but I want to have most of the book done, at least the ink's done, before I launch the campaign. That's why it's going to take a while, but I feel like it'll be worth it.
It's a fantasy setting? Is that what it is?
Yeah. It's a fantasy mystery comic. I went all out. I'm really into classical fantasy, and I love mystery stories as well. So I went crazy with the world building. I built a language and everything. It's all on the website. It's kind of insane, but if you enjoy that kind of insane stuff, this is for you.
What's your desert island fantasy book?
Desert island?
Yeah, you're stuck on an island and you only have one book. Fantasy. What are you taking?
Tough,
I know. Are you like
If-
Bill Stones of Shannara or something like that? Something
No,
like
I'm a
that.
Shannara.
Great.
Did I say it wrong?
I'm a
Shannara.
big Song of Ice and Fire fan, so if that
Yeah,
series
that's
was
good.
done, I would say that. It's not
No,
done,
can't say
so
that.
I'm gonna stop myself because I'm gonna go on for like 3 hours. But yeah.
Do you ever read any Steven Erikson?
No.
I recommend it, and they are done. That's all I'm gonna
All
do.
right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so there's like 10 books. It's ridiculous. And it's a shared universe too. So
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Very nice. So, Reedy, do you have any comic books you would like to recommend? I imagine you want to recommend Fiendish, available right now in Global Comics.
Yes, yeah. So Fiendish, of course, and Aaron's book, everybody else's anything indie. Like there's so much good stuff on indies. I have recommendations on my channel. That's what I do. I have indie comics creators on, I promote them. But recently I've been thinking I need to start recommending manga because I think a lot of people want to get into manga but don't know where to start. And also I'd like to make recommendations for series that aren't your typical shonen fare. It's not the big eyes, pointy nose stuff because that's not all manga. And I like more mature series that are more adult oriented, like stuff like Vagabond, Vinland Saga, and Berserk. So I would say those are my recommendations now, especially Vinland Saga right now has an ongoing anime and it's absolutely excellent. It's historical fantasy and it's very historically accurate. The themes are about pacifism and warfare and revenge. It's very well written. So there you go. I'll throw that out there.
Very nice. And I will throw out there, I have a video I made to where if you like the X-Men or you like Hulk, the mangas that you might want to start with. We've got a whole section of those on the stuff that's mainstream US that there's a version kind of over around manga that you will like a lot. Because I think a lot of people do like manga. And Shonen Jump is only $3 and there's no better deal in the world.
Yes.
Next up, we do have Yul Carter, the proprietor of Thinking Critical, the proprietor of Fantastic Comics. I'm losing my mind here.
That's right.
You got any comic books you want to recommend?
Well, I usually recommend things on my show, Fantastic Comics, on YouTube every Tuesday night at 8. Action was good. I liked it a lot. I even read Superman already for next week. That was good. So I've been enjoying that Lobo Brainiac storyline. Also, Ultimate X-Men. I know Eric O'Sullivan's talking about how boring it is, but I like it. I think the characters are interesting, and we get more past character intersection with the new character, the Wind one, whatever, the Storm, May Storm. Also, I'm sure if Jim was here, he'd probably be talking about Doom. A lot of people on the internet want to let you know that the story is written with help from Jonathan Hickman. Sanford Reed, and the artist in the book, is the main person who came up with the story. And if you like independent comic books, but people that don't do it on the crowdfunding side, Michel Fiffe has been doing Copra for a long time now. There's like over 50 issues. He had a short stint over at Image, and they also do the reproductions of his books. But through his Copra Press, he came out with Creating Copra, which is a book about how he goes about making his comic book. And he's a dude that letters and pencils and colors and inks and writes and does everything production side of making his own comic book, Copra. And bonus, it's like a superhero comic book and all your favorite type of characters that are in it. Doctor Strange, Shade the Changing Man. There's a Deadpool kind of character. Did I say Doctor Strange?
Yes.
There's like a cyborg, or if not cyborg, Iron Man type character, and it's all kind of yeah, definitely. And it's very much, it feels initially like a Suicide Squad type thing. So if you're a fan of Suicide Squad and action superhero books that have a lot of history, that, you know, and really cool looking characters, it's very underground, or not underground, but independent, I should say. Like, that's a really good version of his stuff that isn't colored. But let me just get a page right here. That's what his stuff looks like. And like I said, he's like truly independent and doing it himself. And Copra is a good series, and creating Copra, if you're interested in making comics, that might be for you. $20.
Very nice. Do you also agree that they should have called it Doom the End?
Oh yeah, why not? Because they used to do those The End books.
Mhm.
I think that would be fine.
Yeah, it was a good book.
Yeah, Doom was. So I haven't read it all, but
It's double-sized. Yeah,
because this is one of those things you're going to want to pay attention to. So unless you're only reading one comic book for this week, I'm putting this one aside so that I can really take some time with it. But I already know from the first few pages that I'm down.
very nice. Nerd says, "How dare you not recommend Death Note?"
Death Note is good, but it's too popular. Everyone knows it.
You
but it's
recommended
short.
Berserk.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, Berserk.
Death Note is more. Yeah, it's Berserk. Like it's in a class on its own. But Death Note is good too.
I
There's
don't
too many.
own
There's too
any
many.
manga physically, and I've got Berserk.
Yeah, no, see,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Is it's a crossover hit. It's like you can be like, do you read manga? No, not really. And then you're like, have you read Berserk? And people are like, oh yes, I've read
Berserk is its own. It's kind of like Akira. But
Yeah,
Death
like
Note is
Akira's
good.
always a go-to.
Fantastic.
People know it.
Dark Horse does
Sure.
a great job with those big ass volumes too. They're very well done.
Oh, I have those Berserk volumes too. But yeah, this is I actually don't own physical Death Note, but a lot of these hardcover manga volumes are coming out now. It makes me very happy.
Very cool.
I just want to let
Dark
everybody.
Messiah-
I just want to let everybody know in the chat that no, you can't marry Rainey. Sorry.
Oh,
Getting proposals.
You had a few proposals earlier.
I
It's like-
didn't-
and so every time
oh.
you do something cool, I'm just waiting for like little heart emojis to start appearing in the chat.
Okay.
There you go. The people like you. They wanted. What is it? Is this bad boy? Where are the hearts? There they
There
are.
you go.
Wow,
What? You have a filter thing? Oh, it's so funny.
that was weird.
Wasn't it?
That was really strange.
That was the people to her. I was.
Is this on
thinking it-
StreamYard?
No,
this is
it's
an
actually
Apple
it's
thing.
like it's an Apple thing.
Oh,
So
okay.
I've got
Apple, evil
Yeah.
Apple.
a mini Mac Mini.
What other
Dark-
symbols can you make?
I can do
Can you
this.
Flash gang signs.
I can do this. I can do this.
Wow.
I can do that. There's all kinds of stuff.
Ooh.
Oh no!
That was
Oh my
wild.
God.
Super cool.
Wow. Technology.
Darth Messiah, any recommendation? Terror in the Trenches, Volume 1 by Von Klaus. I disagree with a lot of his takes, but credit when credit is due.
I
Very
have
nice.
the book right here.
Yeah, his Terror in the Trenches is really good. The art is really good. But I definitely
It
understand.
appears to be a Punisher book or a character similar to Punisher.
Yeah, Terror is I think public domain character that Von brought back. There's a couple of other public domain characters in here as well. Yeah, good
We
read.
need to bring back newsprint just to let everybody know.
Yes.
At least Baxter paper. Jesus, the slick stuff.
what they
is
do with
good. It's
Alterna.
over. Yeah,
Right?
bring back newsprint.
Very nice.
Always
Well,
look, old comics always look better. Just let everybody know.
I do prefer the old school coloring where they did it with markers and not everything was blended to the degree it is now. Where it kind of looks like everything's too dark and too green.
Everything is mud.
I like
Yes.
that Kenneth Rockefort back there. He's a good.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know what
look,
would be cool?
he set the standard, man. Everybody else who was working on Doomface stuff, like as soon as I dropped this cover, like I got so many messages from artists going like, I need to step up my game.
All right, Aaron, I want you to think about two things, okay? I want you to think about blacklight poster,
Mm-hmm.
and I want you to think of 3D.
Yeah,
ever
I
get-
also
If
I'm
you ever
also
get it
talking
big enough,
to-
those are what I want off that. I can see it
yeah,
right
so
now.
I'm doing the
Great.
campaign with Murphy and Crowd Control, and
Mhm.
we're talking about like doing a metal cover
Oh,
of Kenneth's piece because it's just so damn good.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, Kenneth is
Yeah.
great.
He's
Very
actually
nice.
out here right now. He's over at Ontario. He's over in Ontario at Comic-Con Revolution today. I might just
Really?
go over there just to see him.
He lives
Oh,
close to
man.
where I am.
You can
like
take
an
him to
hour or so
Arby's?
away.
I can take him to
Where's the
Arby's.
light?
I
Oh,
can bring
big
him in
steak
and
on
burger.
Arby's.
Big Montana and some seasoned curlies. That's friendship.
You could also just give him dysentery. I'm pretty sure that.
Yeah,
that-
seriously.
All right,
Can
Sparrow, you got
order
any
from
comic
my
books you want to
store.
recommend or
I
anything you
actually
need to
do.
plug?
I actually do have comic book recommendations this week. Of course, I'm already recommending Fiendish. Go check out the campaign. Get in on all of that. It's absolutely fantastic. Like we've gone over, the world building that Renie has done is just incredible. It's I always say that I think the two best books in Comicsgate are Fiendish and Wraith of God. So those are always two solid recommendations.
Thank you.
Yeah. In the mainstream, I'm recommending Green Lantern 11 this week because I think Jeremy Adams is doing a great job, and I think that we need to continue to support him in the things that he does, because he actually is a very solid writer that delivers very the comics that we keep saying that we want. The type of comics, just solid action adventures, good character writing, no beating you over the head with any kind of message or agenda. Just a guy that's out there telling great stories. I'm also going to recommend Doom #1, as Yule did. Sanford Green, I've met him several times at cons. Super great guy, super great artist. I really like the book. He actually gave me a copy of his Bitter Root trade the last time I saw him. I think it was in New York. He just gave it to me, and that was good too. So I think it's definitely worth checking out, especially if you like Doctor Doom, which I obviously do, since part of Doomface's inspiration is Doctor Doom. I'm going to recommend Venom Separation Anxiety #1 by David Michelini, the co-creator of Venom. That was a lot of fun. And if you like the old school comics and you want to go back and you want to read the stuff that you actually liked, David Michelini delivers. And then, of course, I am recommending G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, #306, because that book continues to be great, and Larry Hama has been rejuvenated by the book moving over to Skybound. So,
what did you feel about the art changing from Mooneyham over to Peltier?
I love Peltier, but Mooneyham I thought was a better fit for G.I. Joe. But
he's coming back though.
Yeah, he's coming back. It's they're going back and forth.
I'm okay with a fill-in of Paul's caliber as long as dude's coming back.
Yeah, no, and I love the fact that they actually went out and they got a great artist to be the fill-in. So still very good.
I thought it looked really good still. Very good.
Yeah, so, it's not easy to draw G.I. Joe. All those vehicles, that's hard on an artist.
Nerd says, the man says bring back newsprint, yet doesn't read alternative comics. Facepalm, go read Tinseltown.
Well, firstly, I used to get alternative books through Diamond, and I just really only have so much space these days. And Tinseltown was very good. But I gotta sell these books. I can't do it because I want to, all the time. I only have so many Joe Casey books,
Man, friggin' Kneel Before Zod has been great. That last issue was phenomenal.
Did that come out this week? Oh, that was a great issue. Oh,
last 5.
Yeah, very good.
That thing was freaking awesome.
Dude, he rips shit up in that book. I can't believe that he's allowed to do this isn't a Black Label book, and that dude's good art. McDade's doing really good stuff, and Zod's just like, he's gonna destroy everybody in the end, it looks like.
I fell in love with the Big Rig in 2 panels. Couldn't believe he didn't make it. I was so sad. But yeah, that's the way it goes. All right, Doc. You got any comic books you want to recommend?
Well, I will, since Renie is here, I will recommend Fiendish. The book just looks beautiful. It's a beautifully rendered book. And I'm very, very one of those people that's very particular about art. So, but outside of that, there's no new comics that I'm reading. Although you and I did review Batman and Robin #9,
something like that.
And I'm not gonna. Let's just say that our appraisals of it were vastly different.
Yeah, Doc lost his mind.
But instead, we will go back, and this is a book you can find relatively cheap, like literally a couple bucks.
Starting to go up more than that.
It is,
especially if it's slabbed.
Yeah. Well, this one isn't. This is still raw. See, raw, and Alpha Flight #1. It's because of that. Because you got Spidey on the cover. That's why. That's totally the reason. Then we will go with, for whenever they do slice of life books, Like just this one, the Girls' Day Out book.
Yeah.
This is
Very
the first
famous.
appearance of Jubilee. And it is like, Mark Silvestri flexing his, I guess, fashion design, 80s style fashion design muscles. This is a book for Russell Dowderman to do, not other comics.
Ooh.
This is also a book for
I think Chris
Anka.
also. Yeah, that guy's good.
And there's a third fashion designer that can't draw action for shit artist that is hired at the big two, and I'm blanking on who it is. But this, you can use those guys for
slap a
books
Frizz-on
this.
cover on that.
Yeah. A Jenny Frizen cover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do we
Then-
not have a Marvel Legend of that Psylocke costume yet?
Tell me about it.
There is. Remember, it's coming out. Oh no, it was the Lady Mandarin.
Yeah, that one's out.
That one's out. Shit, you're right. There isn't. But hey, by the way, this is once again only a couple issues before they went through the Siege Perilous, and she comes out a ninja, an Asian ninja. Yeah, this Psylocke couldn't fucking fight. White Lady Psylocke can't fight. That's why she wore fucking armor. So all the people that are over there talking, on X-Men Twitter, that suddenly Captain Britain Psylocke is or Betsy can fight anybody. She couldn't fucking fight. She didn't have muscle memory.
She was lame, actually.
Yes, that's why she had to wear armor, and that's why she only became cool when she became an Asian ninja.
Exactly.
Then we will go with just
And sexy too.
I know. Uncanny or Amazing Spider-Man 378. I know, Yul. This is for you. For you how much you love Mark Bagley.
The best ever, best Spider-Man artist ever.
Yep. So we got some Bagley, but it's
Can you believe
Carnage
someone would
versus
say
Venom.
that?
I love.
Can you imagine the fact that just saying that is that will cause so much fighting. Because
I like
there's been
it, though.
so many great. I do too. But there's been so many great. That's high praise because there have been so many truly great Spider-Man artists.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, 378. It's another Carnage versus Venom issue with Spider-Man kind of stuck in the middle, but it's a good fun story. Then we will go. This is all for you. Slab. Now this is actually really fucking hard to find. I think Wildcats #1 gold that Jim Lee didn't scribble his signature on.
No good.
I'm pretty sure that every single copy of this outside of my house has Jim's signature scribbled on it somewhere.
Aren't they going to do an omnibus of the Wildstorm universe? I saw
they did. Well, they did. No, they're doing a
new one. I think
they're doing an Authority, a Stormwatch and Authority omnibus of all of Warren Ellis's.
Holy shit! Are they going to get that Alien story also? Since they're buddy with Marvel right now,
I don't know. That's the weird one because that is a very, very kind of important issue in the transition from Stormwatch over to the Authority, because it happens. The entire Stormwatch team. I'm going to spoil it for you from a 25-year-old comic.
Dude, it was awesome.
The entire Stormwatch team dies in a Wildcats Aliens crossover.
Yeah, it's sweet.
So, but Wildcats #1, the gold foil edition.
What's the grade? Oh, 9.8.
It's a 9.8. And I know how much Yule wants to rip this out of the fucking slab right now.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
You don't care about reselling it.
No, not
going to stay in your
while I'm alive.
Yeah. Well,
I'll worry about somebody else then. They can rip it open if they want. But yeah.
But Doc, we know from Heidi McDonald that you're already dead.
Oh yes, I forgot. I am in my mid-40s, and that's why I stopped reading new comics, because I'm dead, according to Heidi.
Absolutely.
So,
Isn't she older than all of us?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
she's
Together?
like probably put together.
I'm probably older or as old.
no.
No.
Wait, is she in her 60s?
Yep.
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Mhm.
Man. All right.
Yeah, and also, if you ever see her, she was never one for moisturizing either.
Oh, damn.
Jesus,
Yeah.
Doc. What the fuck does that matter?
Wait, he's not a married
Doc,
girl,
let- Doc,
is
let-
what you're
Because in
saying?
addition to the fact that she's old, I'm gonna call her ugly too.
Damn.
Doc, let me
She's
add
got
that
wrinkles.
to my.
What a fucking savage.
Doc, let me add that to my diss track that I sent you.
I do want to say thank you very much to everybody. I hope we had a good time today. Had fun talking comic books, and a huge shout out to Rini. Definitely go back the projects. Go check her out on YouTube and show her all the love. And we will see you next week right here on Think Critical YouTube.